Go. A few reminders before the webinar session. Do not forget to change your respective Zoom name with full name / school or organization and use the official virtual background provided by the Power of Filipino Youth. Remember to keep your microphone muted at all times to avoid interrupting the speakers. Everyone is encouraged to turn off their cameras temporarily during the discussion flow to reduce distractions and technical problems. To our Zoom participants, we highly encourage you to not leave the meeting without informing our technical team members since the slots are highly limited. Please be reminded that this meeting will be locked at 1 p.m. and the webinar will be recorded and broadcasted through the official Facebook page of Power of Filipino Youth. And by the end of the session, everyone is required to answer the post-webinar evaluation forms provided by the event organizers. This will be the primary basis for the verification of the participants' attendance and e-certificates. FB Live for the technical team will be sending the forms through the chat box. The post-evaluation forms will be closed 8 hours after the webinar session. Ayan. In line of our hashtag seek for opportunities from one of our webinar series brought to you by none other than the Power of Filipino Youth, we would like to extend our promotions to our past webinar speakers, Mr. Sherwin Garcia, aka Super MC, and Miss Myra Gahid's project entitled 100% Attitude Project by following their social media accounts through the links which will be sent by the technical team on our Zoom and FB Live chat box. Ayan, Fred, kamusta ka naman?
Ayun nga, medyo may nakalimutan ka lang pala, no, kay Rel sa ating promotions, no? Let us also promote Jobless, who will be one of our sponsors for our giveaway, no? Jobless in partnership with Power of Filipino Youth, and we're gonna have a game, no? And you'll be granted the chance to win Marikina made footwear. Galing Marikina, no? Matibay mga sapatos dito, no? I am a testament to that because I'm a Marikina resident myself. And now, for the mechanics of this game. First, simple lang naman. Share nyo lang tong live na to sa inyong mga friends. Friends, family, girlfriend, kahit sino man yan, kahit kaaway mo pa. Tag mo lang sila. Tag 2 friends, share this live, and use the following hashtags. Hashtag Sulong Filipino, hashtag Pakilahok at Bumoto, hashtag PFY 5th webinar, and hashtag youth participation. And we would also like you to do number 2, like and follow our Facebook page, The Power of Filipino Youth, and also Jobless, and also with our Instagram accounts.
Yes, Fred, di ba? May Instagram accounts din sila at Power Filipino Youth, syempre, and at Jobless Marikina. Then you have to send the proof that you follow the instructions through Instagram DM of the at Power of Filipino Youth, no? At talaga dapat itong mechanics natin, it should be shared itong ating live stream through our Facebook page. Diba? Dapat naka-public yan. And tag 2 friends. Go ahead, mga participants natin from both the Zoom and FB Live.
Okay, everyone, before we start the event, let me remind you once again our webinar etiquette. No? First, do not forget to change your respective Zoom name to your full name, followed by your school/organization, and use the official virtual background provided by the Power of the Filipino Youth. Second, remember to keep your microphone muted at all times to avoid interrupting the speaker. Third, everyone is encouraged to turn off their cameras temporarily during the discussion to reduce distractions and possible technical problems. To our Zoom participants, you guys here in this meeting, we highly encourage you to not leave the meeting without informing our technical team members since the slots are limited. Next, please be reminded that this meeting will be locked at exactly 1:30 p.m. and the webinar will be recorded and broadcasted through the official Facebook page of PFY. And by the end of the webinar session, all of the registered participants in here are encouraged to immediately fill out the post-evaluation form of this webinar session. For the Zoom participants, the technical team will be sending the forms through the chat box here. For the Facebook Live participants, the technical team will also be sending the forms through the Facebook Live chat box. And don't forget our promotions, right? Well, as Kyrell said earlier, follow the Facebook pages of two of our previous webinar speakers, Sherwin Garcia Super MC, follow him on his Facebook page, and Miss Myra Gahid's the 100% Attitude Project. And also, to support don't forget to support Jobless, for we have a game today, and the mechanics are as such. Tag 2 friends and share this live and use the following hashtags below. Hashtag Sulong Pilipino, hashtag Makilhok at Bumoto, hashtag PFY 5th webinar, and hashtag youth participation. Second, like and follow our Facebook page, Power of Filipino Youth, and the Jobless Facebook page. We also have our Instagram accounts, Power of Filipino Youth and at Jobless Marikina. Make sure to like and follow the 4 social media pages in order to get a chance to win. And 3, send the proof that you followed the instructions through the Instagram direct message. I repeat, Instagram direct message of the Power of the Filipino Youth. And you will get the chance to win Marikina made footwear.
A few reminders before the webinar session. Do not forget to change your respective Zoom name with full name slash school or organization and use the official virtual background provided by the Power of Filipino Youth. Remember to keep your microphone muted at all times to avoid interrupting the speakers. Everyone is encouraged to turn off their cameras temporarily during the discussion flow to reduce distractions and technical problems. To our Zoom participants, we highly encourage you to not leave the meeting without informing our technical team members since the slots are highly limited. Please be reminded that this meeting will be locked at exactly 1:30 p.m. and the webinar will be recorded and broadcasted through the official Facebook page of Power of Filipino Youth. And by the end of webinar session, all of the registered participants are encouraged to immediately fill out the post-evaluation forms of this webinar session. For the Zoom participants, the technical team will be sending the forms through the chat box. For the FB Live participants, the technical team will also be sending the forms through the FB Live chat box. Okay, again, reminder to our participants, both in Zoom and FB Live, due to our circumstances for the past webinar series, we would highly encourage our participants to check on their emails so that they would be able to receive the link, official link, through to our post-evaluation forms, which will be sent to our Facebook page for this webinar, hashtag Sulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Bumoto. Ayan, while waiting for our speakers, Fred, may I ask, registered voter ka na ba?
Registered voter. Actually, dito sa amin, nung Wednesday ako nag-start magpa-register. Ikaw?
Oo, ako actually last year pa noon talaga nung first day ng official na na registration period, talagang excited talaga ako as first time voter. Ayan.
Uy, wow naman, grabe. Kitang-kita mo talaga kung mamaling sa bayan, Kai. Ito talaga ang passion, no? Ayun nga, mabuti nang may proseso tayo na ganito, no? Kasi napaka-importante talaga sa atin na mag-register, pumoto, kasi ayaw rin naman yung magiging dahilan kung bakit ganito yung bansa natin, di ba? And anyway, mukhang malapit na pala mag-start yung event, no? And everyone, hold on to your seats and just chill down, sip your water, your coffee, your Milo, kung anumang gusto nyong inumin, and just enjoy our webinar and enjoy what we are going to talk about today.
Yes, tamang-tama yan, Fred. Since malapit na talaga yung ating elections, talaga makakatulong ito sa ating participants on how we deal with our candidates. Ayan. Let's officially kick off this webinar series, no? Ayan, I would like to greet everyone. Empowering Afternoon participants, we officially welcome you all to the fifth and final portion of the 5-week webinar series brought to you by the Power of Filipino Youth entitled hashtag Sulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Bumoto. I am Kyril Tolete.
And I am Frederick Emanuel Se, and we will be your hosts for today's webinar session.
Now, before anything else, on behalf of the whole organization, most especially the external committee who made this event possible, we would like to extend our gratitude to all the registered participants and organization members for being here and making time to be a part of the continuing legacy of the Power of Filipino Youth.
Yes, partner, tama ka dyan. This is more than just the continuing legacy of the organization, since all of you, every single one of you really put your time and effort to be a part of the hashtag Sulong Pilipino movement by championing awareness to people, particularly the youth, on the necessity of being a conscientious and accountable citizen of the Philippines through responsible voting.
Yes, I very much agree. We all have the power to sway the elections. After registration, we ought to educate ourselves accurately on current events and issues. No matter where our stances rest, it remains imperative to educate oneself thoroughly because the people we elect are the ones who shall efficiently, honestly, rightfully, and humanely represent us towards shaping the future of our country. So, for all the Filipino voters, especially youth voters and newly registered voters, participating in this webinar is really a smart choice of yours because you are currently taking part in recognizing your role in our society.
Ramdam na ramdam ko talaga yung excitement mo, partner. And yes, it's right. It's a smart choice, no? And what you have said is absolutely factual. We are powerful and our vote counts, especially next year where the elections would be the most important election in the history of this country. So let us all be informed, get involved, and vote. From this juncture, we will also want to take this opportunity to introduce to you what Power of the Filipino Youth is and its long-term goals, not only to the youth sector nonetheless, but the whole Filipino community as a whole.
Power Filipino Youth, or PFY, is a newly established youth-led nonprofit organization that focuses on Filipino youth's access to learning and education. This organization aims at affording youth with admission to education or supplementary tutoring by extending webinars, informational materials, and coordinating service-oriented projects to facilitate the youth's need of timely and adequate information.
Yeah, so if you want to be a part of the continuing legacy of empowering not just the Filipino youth, but the rest of the Filipino society, feel free to sign up on our membership forms to be sent by the technical team in the chat box for both the Zoom and Facebook Live participants, as well as the official links to our social media accounts in Facebook and Instagram.
Yes, to officially start the webinar session, let us take a step back as we view the overall perspective of our current situation. Less than 1 year before the 2022 Philippine national election, and ilang days ba, no, before the last day of COMELEC voters registration across the current dilemmas of our country and the world is facing, we see how it is of the utmost necessity that people, particularly the youth, are empowered to stand and decide appropriately, wisely, and rightfully for their country. Remember, there's no such thing as a vote that doesn't matter. It all matters, as the US President Barack Obama said. Di ba, Fred, the connection between the government and its citizens is becoming crucial as we face the challenges brought about by the pandemic. People get to discern issues and finally embrace their voices and rights against any immoralities using different platforms, particularly the social media.
Yes, that's right, partner, no? Especially the youth, no? Young people tend to open their minds and allow themselves to think critically and get involved. With this, hope rises as next year's elections are nearly approaching, getting closer day by day. And in democratic countries like the Philippines, voting is one of the most critical and influential ways to influence our government and the political system surrounding it. Elections allow us to manipulate our own future by choosing a deserving leader to govern the country. In short, the fate of our country and the fate of our motherland is in our hands, the Filipino citizens. The moment that you decided to be involved and get your thumb stained is also the moment that you desired to use your voice and make the right choice.
But of course, Fred, as a person new to this phase, no, there's a long way ahead to completely discern the characteristics of a true leader. So we need to help ourselves and other people as well to spread awareness. Remember that we, the youth, are more than just our immaturity and playfulness. We are the future of the world and we are the change makers. And for this very reason, the Power Filipino Youth proudly presents a webinar that is directed towards educating, instructing, and enlightening every youth, mainly on exercising their rights and responsibilities as a Filipino citizen. This is the hashtag Sulong Pilipino Makilahok at Bumoto, a part of the organization's 5-week webinar series. Remember, your voice is your voice. So let us all be heard and let us all empower ourselves with knowledge and awareness. Kaya naman, hashtag Sulong Pilipino Makilahok at Bumoto.
And now, without further ado, let us begin this webinar with the singing of the Philippine National Anthem and followed up by the opening prayer. Okay, so now may I call on Ms. Shaira de la Sat... wait.
Mga kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas. Kayang magiliw, kaya sa sigahanan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, tuyag ka ng magiting, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa gagatang tutok sa simoy at sa langit mong pagaw, ay hinatang tulad, awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nag-iindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan ang may di magtitindig. Luman ang araw ng walhagit pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo. Ang inigaya na pagkay mga api, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Now may I call on Ms. Shaira de los Santos from the External Committee of the Power Filipino Youth to lead us to the opening prayer.
Let us all bow our heads and give ourselves in the presence of God. Almighty God, we praise you for your relentless kindness and exceptional strength to provide us the guidance we need. O Lord, we need for your forgiveness in every sins we committed, and with this we gather all the courage to do the same thing with others who sinned against us. Dear Lord, there is no words to describe how grateful we are to your unending acceptance, despite over our unending cruel actions. God, without you, this webinar would have been impossible. But with your light, we PFY members were able to walk through the path where proper wisdom and knowledge reigns. Through with this, we thank you for touching one's heart and soul that chose to listen and learn from the speakers. Thank you for gathering us here with these exemplary leaders to guide us in exercising our rights for the betterment of nation building. We hope that through this virtual gathering, we, as youth, takes our first step in possessing the right mentality in choosing a leader for the following years to come. Grant, O Lord, that this event may be educational, enlightening, and successful, that it may drive us to serve our beloved country, the Philippines, and for your greater glory. This we ask through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Ayan, no? Thank you so much for that thoughtful and very intimate prayer, Ms. De Los Santos. It's very empowering and reverent indeed. Now, to formally start our webinar session, may we now call on the event chairperson and the external vice president of the Power of Filipino Youth, Ms. Jewel Elefane, for her opening remarks, and to be followed by the introduction to our very first webinar guest speaker. Take it away, Jewel.
Right, so empowering afternoon, everyone. It's 1:21 p.m. and now I am seeing 253 webinar participants inside this Zoom video conference and a total of 73 webinar participants watching on our Facebook Live. So with this, I would like to extend my gratitude to everyone for being here with us today. I am very pleased to be able to welcome you, especially those familiar faces and familiar Facebook profiles. They must have been participating the Power Philippines sponsored webinar now since the first week. So thank you so much for your active participation. I hope and the Power of Filipino Youth hope that you are winning a bunch of information and expertise that is necessary to your career paths. But of course, today, we are more focused on our role as a Filipino citizen, our role as a catalyst of change in the Philippine society, or our role as a Filipino electorate. So today marks the fifth and final week of Power of Filipino Youth's 5-week webinar series, and this is entitled Hashtag Sulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Bumoto. This event is directed towards championing awareness to people, sabi nga ng mga host kanina, particularly on youth, on the necessity of being a conscientious and accountable citizen of the Philippines through responsible voting. As we all know, we all have this power to sway elections. After registration, we have to educate ourselves accurately on the events and issues of our country. No matter where our stances rest, it remains imperative to educate oneself thoroughly because the people we are electing are the ones who shall efficiently, honestly, rightfully, and humanely represent us towards shaping the future of our very own country. But before we commence this event, I would like to initially commend the team in charge, the external committee, the Power of Filipino Youth core team, and the volunteers who meticulously organized this day's event. You really deserve a genuine thanks and recognition from everyone in here. Thank you as well to all of you webinar participants for your active cooperation and participation in this initiative. The guest performers, the sponsor of our giveaway time, and especially this day's webinar speakers, we are very grateful to have your full support. To all the people who made this event possible, you all serve as a confirmation that despite the challenges our country and the world has been encountering, we are bound to unite and take step towards the betterment of ourselves and the Philippine society. Well, I don't want to take too much of your time. A very warm welcome to each and every one of you. May we all listen and be inspired and also enjoy today's webinar. Our first speaker, is the first female representative of Youth Party List Kabataan in the House of Representatives of the Philippines. She served as the youngest lady legislator of Congress during her first term at 26. In 2015, she became a party list nominee as president of the largest network of student governments, National Union of Students of the Philippines, and led the forming of Rise for Education Alliance. As the principal author of the Comprehensive Free Public Higher Education Bill in 2017, she worked alongside the Rise for Education in pushing for passage of a landmark law benefiting around 2 million college students each year since 2018. The representation's legislative agenda includes education, health, well-being, gender equality, good governance, employment, and socioeconomic reforms, and thus garnering for more victories with and alongside the people as one of the principal authors of Free Public Internet Access Law in 2017. She maintains meaningful engagement in hundreds of schools and communities yearly by empowering and enabling the youth to unite in shaping the future and the present and bring in new politics of hope and action serving the people. She is a mover, volunteer in Tulong Kabataan Relief Network, distributing food and essential aid to disaster victims and their rebuilding efforts. Before Congress, she persistently managing stuttering is the founding president of a support group for and by people with stutter. This is one of the pressing reasons why she vows to push legislation and oversight on safeguarding accessible and quality healthcare and rights and welfare of people with disabilities. So currently on her second term and part of 13 House committees, she is the youngest of the Board of Trustees of the Philippine Legislators Committee on Population and Development, member of ASEAN Parliamentarians for Human Rights, and ambassador for various nonprofit organizations. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present our first speaker, Honorable Sarah Jane Alago, to be followed by a live discussion with Mr. Raul Manuel, a former UP student regent and currently the Kabataan National Spokesperson. Honorable Sarah Jane Alago will join us live on our open forum session after the live discussion of Mr. Raul Manuel. So prepare your questions and be ready for the open forum session. Let us all give them a warm welcome.
Hi, I'm Sarah from Kabataan. First, I would like to thank you, Power of Filipino Youth Philippines, for organizing this event and gathering us all here in this webinar. Good afternoon to all of you, to all the organizers, your staff, volunteers, my fellow speaker, Dean Chell, and of course, the participants. Muli, magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. Nakikiisa po kami sa inyong tema ngayong araw, Tulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Pumoto. We in Kabataan stand in solidarity with you in promoting active involvement among young people in these extraordinarily difficult times and with the 2022 elections just around the corner. As the COVID-19 crisis has made clear, the decisions that our leaders make can spell the difference between life and death. We have witnessed how the COVID-19 pandemic has not only aggravated long-standing problems, it has also deepened inequality and magnified the income gap in the Philippines. Clearly, the decisions that our leaders make in our issues, our concerns, can affect our future in so many ways. In our lifetime, we've already had this unprecedented crisis that has demanded our government to efficiently and effectively intervene to save lives. This multi-layered health, rights, jobs, learning, and climate crisis have also helped us realize that the policies and pronouncements of public officials impact our everyday lives. This realization has also increased young people's interest in civic engagement and political processes. Since the quick passage of the Bayanihan Law, yet the slow distribution of Social Amelioration Program or SAP, or because of the dolomite dumping in Manila Bay, China's encroachment in the West Philippine Sea, the railroading of the anti-terror law, attacks on free press, threats to academic freedom, and even the red tagging of community pantries, just to name a few of the Filipino people's utmost concerns. The young people now want to know who their representative is in Congress, or they ask who the senators are, who are the members of Congress who voted for a particular measure, how to lobby, what are the agenda of the meetings in the plenary session, who are the members of the Interagency Task Force versus COVID-19, who is accountable for the very slow containment measures against the COVID-19. Marami tayong mga tanong na kailangan ng dalhin sa harap ng mga opisyal ngayon pa lang. We need not wait for the 2022 elections to raise these questions, demand answers, to make our voices heard, to make the people's voices heard. We need to act now. We need to get organized and prepare by keeping ourselves informed and updated on various societal issues. You can start with joining movements such as hashtag kabilang ka sa 2022, hashtag mas marami tayo, hashtag kabataan tayo ang pagbabago, at iba pang mga koalisyon para sa eleksyon sa 2022. Sunod, alamin din ang iyong voter status. Kung hindi pa nakakapagparehistro, magpa-register na. Kung ikaw naman ay nakapagparehistro na, alamin pa rin ang iyong voter status. Kung ang iyong pangalan ay kasama sa listahan ng eligible voters o kung may kailangan pang asikasuhin upang matiyak ang iyong pagboto. Please note, check your voter status. Ngayon pa lang, pinapangunahan na ito ng mga estudyante at ng mga kabataang Pilipino. The young voters are needed now more than ever in the local and national elections. Why? Una, may bilang tayo. We have the numbers. The youth comprises more than 40% of the total Philippine population. Young people from 18 to 30 make up about 30% of the voting population of the Philippines. Now, if the millennials and Gen Z, or all those 18 to 40 in the next elections were counted, that would be at least 50% or more than half of the total voting population. The number of young voters puts us in a very powerful position to shape the current political landscape. The vote of the young Filipinos really holds the potential to influence election results in the Philippines. Kaya una, may bilang tayo. Pangalawa, mahalaga ang bawat boto. Your vote counts, figuratively and literally. We may not feel and realize this in the national level, but did you know that the difference between winning and losing seats in the local elections can be as little as one vote? For instance, in the 2019 polls, the mayoralty seat in the town of San Isidro Leyte was won by just a single vote. Bawat isang boto ay mahalaga. Marami pa tayong pwedeng gawin. Kaya laging tandaan, huwag kalimutan na meron tayong bilang, mahalaga ang ating bawat boto. Mahalaga rin hanapin ang ating mga punto ng pagkakaisa. Dahil ang bilang ng ating boto, ang halaga ng bawat boto, ang laban ng ating boto ay nakasalalay sa ating pagkakaisa. Sa kabila ng ating mga pagkakaiba, we have diverse needs, backgrounds, and circumstances in life. We still share at least three things that make the youth a positive, progressive, and dynamic force of change. Number one is history. We have a long history of young heroes and dynamic youth movements which had played a vital part in pushing for meaningful reforms and fighting foreign occupation, colonialism, abuse of power, and all forms of discrimination so we could exercise our fundamental freedoms and rights today. Remember, our rights are won by movements. May boto tayo sa kung sino ang mga ating mga pinuno, ang mga mamumuno sa ating bansa dahil sa mga panalo ng mga nauna sa atin. Obligasyon nating alagaan at protektahan ang mga karapatan na ito para naman sa susunod na mga henerasyon. May kasaysayan tayo ng mga aral, inspirasyon at tagumpay. Kaya, natin tandaan, number one, meron tayong kasaysayan. We have history. Number two, vigor. We have vigor as we battle through this period when we should be at our healthiest and most energetic. Napakahirap sa gitna ng krisis, pero grabe ang mga pagsisikap, ang mga ambag ng mga kabataan na nakikita natin. Talagang walang kapantay ang lakas, enerhiya at boses ng mga kabataan. A voice is a voice no matter what the platform. So we need to sustain the energy of our young electorate to keep pushing for our demands and our aspirations. Mula sa kalusugan, edukasyon, agrikultura, kabuhayan, serbisyong panlipunan at paglaban sa korupsyon, pagbangon at pagpapalakas ng pambansang ekonomiya hanggang sa paninindigan natin para sa integridad ng ating teritoryo at pambansang soberanya ng Pilipinas. Number one, history. Number two, vigor. Nandiyan ang ating lakas. Third is, to me, what really makes us persevere through and through. Number three is time. Mahaba pa ang oras na lalakbayin natin. So let us make use of this precious time to actively shape the future we want to inherit. Marami pa tayong pwedeng gawin. In addition to registering young people to vote, we can hold voter education caravans, of course, with strict adherence to health protocols. This is to provide access to information about the registration process, policies, and candidates, as well as the mechanics of actually voting. Through various platforms, we must also cultivate a sense of civic duty to seek the truth and hold power to account. Ang hanapin ang katotohanan, ipagtanggol ang katotohanan, at tiyakin na may pananagutan ang mga tao. Let us emphasize the need for change and the ability for votes to matter, not just at the national, but also at the local level, especially ahead of the election. Educational institutions have a critical role to play too in demonstrating commitment to inform and empower its student body and stakeholders on what it means to be active citizens. Kaya muli, mga kabataan, sa inyong lahat na bumubuo sa Power of Filipino Youth Philippines, sa ating mga kababayan, we have the benefit of learning from the history of youth, students, and people's rights movement in the Philippines. We have vigor, we have time, may oras at lakas tayo para magkaisa at gumawa rin ng kasaysayan ng mga tagumpay. Kaya tiyakin natin na tunay na walang may iwan tungo sa mas masagana, makatarungan, mapayapa, at tunay na malayang bayan. We must work hard and commit to pursuing our collective aspiration to fight disinformation, promote youth's participation and empowerment, respect for human rights, and together let us support democracy. I strongly believe that after all of this, we can build back better. We can build back fairer. We must. Muli, maraming salamat. Power of Filipino Youth. Mabuhay po kayo.
Ayan. That has been Honorable Representative Sara Elago of Kabataan Party List. Grabe, Fred, what are your takeaways from Miss Sarah's discussion?
Ako lang naman, na-inspire ako sa sinabi niya about, about using our voice and empowering each and every one of us na bumoto. Kasi nga, I don't wanna sound terrible, no? But this country deserves better nga, di ba? And, to be honest, tayo nga lang talaga yung may magagawang paraan para, para magawan natin ng solusyon yung mga problema ng bansa. Ikaw, anong takeaway mo? Anong pinaka-nagustuhan mo narinig kay Honorable Elago?
Ako, aside doon sa mga pressing issues talaga, just like anti-terror law, yung ating West Philippine Sea, talagang na tumatak sa akin yung sinabi niya na as Filipino youth, talagang meron talaga tayong lakas, 'di ba? At our current age, talagang nasa atin yung wisdom and knowledge na to educate ourselves, not only to educate ourselves, but also to share our knowledge with regards to voters' education sa ibang mga tao. Kasi at this point of time, talagang mas lumalala yung ating political situation and landscape. And that's why it's very important for us to really participate, diba? Kasi it's our civic, our responsibility as youth to highly engage with the community. Yun lang naman, Fred.
Correct ka naman talaga dyan, Kai, no? And, sabi ko, population-wise, no? Tayong mga youth, mga kabataan, tayo yung pinakamaraming tao rito sa bansa. So, what is stopping us from banding together and uniting as the youth, the future, no, to usher in a better and brighter future for society na matatamasa din ng mga magiging anak natin, matagal pa yung ganun klase panahon, no, yung mga susunod na generations. Let's be that first step towards progress. Let's be that first step towards change, diba? Yun.
Ayan, speaking of change and progress, let us call on now, Mr. Raul Manuel to give us a live discussion on behalf of Honorable Sarah Jane Elago. Ayan po. Take it away po.
Ayan, hello, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Ayun, kino-commend natin ang inyong organization para sa pag-come up sa ganitong activity. Of course, gathering hundreds of youth and students para sa ating gustong mga mangyari sa ating bansa. As youth talaga, common aspiration natin na sa napakaraming mga nangyayari ngayon na hindi kaaya-aya. Of course, tayong youth, meron tayong nakikitang way forward at yun yung gusto nating maipamana para sa susunod na mga generations. So, I'd like to share my screen para sa ating talakayan sa kung paano ba dapat na nagpa-participate ang mga kabataan sa bansa natin and of course sa national elections. So, lagi naming nire-reiterate ni Congresswoman Sara Elago yung potential talaga nating mga kabataan, lalo na kapag nabigyan tayo ng mga opportunities para ma-unleash no, yung ganitong potential. No? Given na napakalaki ng composition ng kabataan sa Pilipinas compared sa ibang mga bansa, tayo masasabi nating very young yung ating population. If you are to consider, yung median age pa lang natin sa Pilipinas ay 23. Ibig sabihin nun, kung papapilahin natin lahat ng mga tao based on age, ibig sabihin mga baby sa pinakadulo, tapos sa other side yung mga matatanda, 23 yung nasa gitna ng pila na yon. I-compare sa buong mundo na 31 ay kita talaga yung kung gaano kabata yung ating population. And for the upcoming 2022 elections, 62 million yung projection ng COMELEC ng mga boboto. And based on government data portals, 40% nun ay mga kabataan. Kasama yung 4 million ng mga first-time voters. Ngayon pa lang pinupost na natin yung challenge kasi as of April 15, out of the projection of 4 million for first-time voters, 1.6 million pa lang yung nakakaboto. Of course, maraming mga factor dyan. Pwedeng close yung mga opisina dahil sa COVID-19. Pero ngayon pa lang, gusto na rin nating ma-present yung ganitong pace para naman mas magtulungan pa tayo paano paparamihin yung mga makakapagrehistro talaga at boboto, mag-show up sa darating na May 9, 2022. And with that, again, napakaraming mga qualities si mga kabataan. We have openness to new and progressive ideas. Meron tayong energy, enthusiasm, we have time. Meron din tayong capacity to be more critical and creative. No? Tapos, nandiyan yung optimism natin. Kaya naman, tayong mga kabataan, pinag-aagawan tayo. On one hand, nandiyan yung mga majority ng mamamayang Pilipino na umaasa sa mga kabataan para mag-promote talaga ng tunay na pagbabago. On the other hand, well, nandiyan yung minority sa ating bansa na ngayon, sila kasi yung merong benefit ng possessions, they have the economic and political power. Kaya wala silang interest masyado na baguhin yung mga bulok na sistema sa ating bansa. Sila ngayon yung privilege sa status quo natin. Kaya for them, mas mabuti nang i-maintain yung status quo. Kaya sa ganong nakita nating grand conflict sa ating bansa, ang youth, kailangan conscious tayo kung saan tayo papanig. And of course, that is for the advancement of genuine social change. At yung mga nabanggit na characteristics kanina ay magiging positive lamang kapag ginagamit talaga natin yung ating oras, time, energy para pagsilbihan yung bayan at isulong yung pagbabago sa ating lipunan. Now, yung youth, again, meron siyang napakarami ding mga sub-sectors under it based sa kanyang pinagmulang socio-economic circumstances, tapos yung pati din sa kanyang SOGI, tapos yung iba pang mga classifications. Pero yung common interest ng youth, no? Kasi, of course, we have to hone our skills, our talents, our capacities. At isa yung education sa mga dapat na nabibigay sa atin bilang karapatan. Pero ngayon sa bansa, napakalaki ng bilang ng out-of-school youth. At the same time, lubhang napakataas ng youth unemployment, which means di nakagraduate man tayo, pero maraming sa mga kabataan ay hindi din agad makapaghanap ng trabaho. At almost double yung youth unemployment compared sa total unemployment sa buong Pilipinas. Kaya naman kahit mga college graduates ay nahihirapang makapaghanap ng trabaho. Now, bakit natin ito na-point out? Kasi kahit na napakaraming mga subsectors under the youth, merong mga common na usapin na nag-cut across sa kabataan kahit na tayo ay kabataang kababaihan, kabataang LGBT, or kabataan na nakakapag-aral or kahit hindi nakakapag-aral. Common interest natin talaga na makuha yung right to education tsaka magkaroon ng employment opportunities. Now, in line with that, kailangan as youth makita natin yung relation ng ating mga concerns as the youth sector in relation sa nangyayari sa ating buong bansa. Kasi bilang kabataan, hindi natin talaga lubusang mahihiwalay yung ating sarili sa mamamayang Pilipino na nakakaranas ng kahirapan, kagutuman, and ngayon, nakaka-experience ng impacts ng public health crisis. So ngayon, kita natin kung ano yung naging effect ng government negligence, tsaka incompetence. Ngayong more than 1 million na yung confirmed na cases ng COVID-19 sa ating bansa. And dahil sa pagkalat ng COVID-19, marami yung nawalan ng trabaho o hanap buhay. Kaya sobrang haba ng mga pila sa pagbibigay ng ayuda o cash aid sa mamamayang Pilipino. Tapos kahit nga, di ba, actually sa ngayon yung mga nabibigay ng cash aid ay hindi naman sapat, pero pinipilahan talaga siya kasi survival na yung pinag-uusapan natin. Now, the part of the youth, nandyan yung education crisis. We are shocked to hear from the Commission on Higher Education sa ngayon na wala silang plan long-term na bumalik yung lahat ng mga kabataan sa physical classes. Very alarming na yung current education crisis ay niro-romanticize siya para gawing palatable for the Filipino youth yung distance learning when in fact ay adjustment lamang natin siya dahil nga sa impacts ng pandemic. And finally, yung human rights crisis wherein nakapanguna yung paggamit ng dahas, pananakot, kesa yung paano talaga natin mapapaintindi sa mamamayan yung pagsunod sa protocols, tapos paano magiging humane yung ating pamamalakad kahit na tayo ay nasa crisis mode. We mentioned all these kasi ganun ka grabe yung mga choices na ating create kapag merong eleksyon. Assuming na yung elections ay ginanap siya sa isang malinis tsaka patas na paraan. Kasi sa lahat ng to, human rights, socio-economic crisis, yung sa public health, tsaka education, yung nakakagawa talaga ng major na mga policies at yung may control sa people's taxes na ginagamit para sa iba't ibang mga proyekto ay yung mga elected officials, katuwang yung mga appointed officials nila. Kaya naman, ganun na lamang yung value kapag nagkakaroon tayo ng halalan. For example, pwede nating i-rundown yung napakaraming mga powers ng mahalal na presidente mula sa siya may control sa lahat ng mga departments, commissions, bureaus. Tapos yung pag-appoint sa mga secretaries, USECs, ASECs, pati yung mga nasa courts, pati yung sa commissions, like COMELEC, Civil Service. Tapos pag-issue ng mga executive orders. Dagdag din dyan ay pag-supervise sa mga LGU, pag-certify as urgent sa mga batas ng Kongreso. Tapos kahit nga yung pag-approve or pag-veto sa mga na-approve na mga batas within the chambers of Congress. Pati yung national budget. Kaya napakaraming at stake sa mga choices na ating nililikha. No, for Vice President, of course, sumalili kapag hindi na kayang gumampan sa kanyang posisyon yung presidente. And second ay kaya din niyang mag-take on ng isang position sa loob ng cabinet na ang rank niya ay parang isang secretary. For senator, we will choose 12 senators kasi 6 years yung kanilang term and every 3 years ay pinapalitan natin yung kalahati ng composition ng Senate. So they pass laws and resolutions, they conduct investigations in aid of legislation, tapos pati yung pag-decide sa mga impeachment cases, pag-propose ng amendments sa Constitution, pati yung pag-sang-ayon o pag-nullify sa mga treaties na pinapasukan ng President. For the lower house, kasama dito yung district representatives tsaka yung party lists, similar din naman sa senators, ilan lang sa mga differences ay halimbawa, through the Commission on Appointments ay kaya ng House na mag-approve or mag-disapprove ng mga appointees ng ating incumbent president. Kaya naman, kailangan sa darating na halalan, tayo mga kabataan, dahil nga ayaw natin na lamunin tayo or magpapatangay na lamang tayo sa kung ano yung mga nakasanayan, tanggapin na lamang na madumi talaga yung eleksyon sa Pilipinas, gusto natin maging counterflow sa mga yon. Kaya marami talaga tayong dapat pagbantayan. Halimbawa, kapag may mga kandidato na gumagamit ng violence or iba't ibang threats sa kanilang population to force people na iboto yung certain candidates. Pangalawa, pagbantay sa pandaraya kasi possible na kahit automated yung elections ay lalo na nangyayari yung counting behind our eyes, ibig sabihin sa machines or computers. Kaya kailangan talaga natin tiyakin na yung ginagamit ng mga software or iba pang mga processes ay hindi siya prone sa kahit anong form ng cheating. Pangatlo, dapat din careful tayo sa mga kandidato na napakalaki ng kanilang ginagastos sa eleksyon. Lalo na kung, example, incumbent sila kasi pwedeng gamitin nila yung funds natin for their electoral campaign. Or kung hindi man, tatanggap sila ng donations from big businesses. Tapos pag nanalo na sila, pambayad nila sa mga donors nila ay yung mga government contracts, privileges, at iba pang mga perks. Also, pagbantayan natin yung paggamit ng deception and disinformation. Pwedeng through TV, radio, newspapers. At based sa experience natin ng 2019 elections at kahit ng 2016 ay yung paggamit ng social media para mag-create ng parang isang alternative reality para sa mga tao na magiging prone sa fake news at iba pang mga paraan para manlinlang ng mamamayan. Ayan, dagdag pa, no, yung mga populist na mga pangako, yung gustong marinig ng tao ay binabanggit pag-eleksyon pero after wala na. Also, long-standing problem yung political dynasties. Tapos yung pagpapalit-palit ng mga political parties, ibig sabihin talaga ay hindi pa ganun ka-grounded sa principles at concrete platforms yung maraming mga political parties. On guard din tayo sa mga fake party lists, no, na ginagamit ng mga dynasties yung party list system as backdoor kung hindi sila manalo bilang district representatives. And finally, bilang pinag-usapan natin yung national elections, dapat tiyakin natin na matuloy siya. Kasi hanggang ngayon, meron pa rin mga ilang groups na nagpo-push for iba't ibang forms para ma-extend yung term ng incumbent officials. Pwede yan through declarations of revolutionary government or kung ano pang paraan. So gusto natin, ma-practice na natin yung right natin to vote para makapag-ambag tayo sa pag-change man lang ng direksyon na current na tinatahak ng ating bansa. Kaya yung mga tungkulin natin sa darating na halalan, syempre una, magparehistro. Hindi lamang na i-ensure natin na registrado tayo as individuals, pero lahat ng mga kakilala natin, ensure natin na registered sila. We don't have to be complacent. Ngayon pa lang, kahit na malayo pa yung September 30, pero actually ilang buwan na lang yun if you are to count. May, June, July, August, September, 4 months na lang. No? Ayaw nating matangay pa tayo or matagalan tayo at pwede hindi tayo makapag-register dahil sa pila or lalong lumala yung restrictions. Habang may room tayo, magparehistro na tayo para may chance tayo na iboto yung mga makabayan tsaka progresibong kandidato. Pangalawa, let's create a large pool of critical and conscious voters. Ibig sabihin yon, hindi sapat na boboto lang tayo, pero dapat alam natin ano yung participation natin sa darating na halalan. Makakatulong dito kapag nagplano talaga tayo ng mas active na paghahanda ng ating organizations, networks, or communities through, ito yung ilan sa mga sample ng mga forms. Pero of course, as youth, marami pa tayo pwedeng maisip. Example, pagbuo ng voters registration or education network sa ating locality. Tapos, paggawa ng mga mechanisms to ensure na yung mga naaabot ng ating gawain ay registered sila. Tapos mag-host ng mga electoral fora. Tapos pagtatalakay din kagaya nito sa mas marami pang kabataan at residente. Gusto natin mag-multiply talaga yung mga critical at conscious voters. Sunod din, tukuyin natin yung mga tampok o mga immediate na mga usapin sa ating community na dapat ay tugunan ng mga kandidato sa municipal, city, or provincial level. Kasi gusto natin yung ating barometer or yung pamantayan natin for voting ay pinagkakaisan siya ng mamamayan. Tapos, yun yung magiging way para piliin natin sino talaga yung best na mga iboboto. Inline ito sa kagustuhan natin na dapat ay maisulong natin yung agenda ng kabataan at mamamayan for 2022 elections. Sa national hanggang sa ground level, gusto natin yung election hindi siya usapin lang ng mga personalities o sino yung tumatakbo. Kasi kapag ganon, madali lamang na ma-divide tsaka mag-away-away yung mga tao. Lagi ko talagang pinaniniwalaan na mas marami tayong pwedeng pagkaisahan kaysa mga bagay na pagtatalunan natin. Kasi sa pagiging kabataan pa lang natin tsaka Pilipino, marami talagang mga issue na yun yung magiging common ground natin to forward a common agenda. Kaya sa panahon ng eleksyon, yung eleksyon part pa rin siya ng pag-hold accountable natin sa mga incumbent officials. Part siya ng lalo nating pagpapaingay ng mga demands tsaka issues ng mamamayan para sa panahon ng eleksyon, malaman natin sino yung puposisyon with the youth and the people. Kaya makakatulong talaga kapag naisulong natin yung isang common agenda ng kabataan at mamamayan. Kasama dito yung, of course, right natin to education. Ngayon, nasa education crisis tayo. Gusto na nating umigpaw mula doon. Dapat ang edukasyon ay ligtas, abot kaya at kalidad para sa lahat. Pangalawa, social services, subsidies, tapos affordable prices amid the pandemic. Pangatlo, nakabubuhay na sahod at trabaho para sa lahat. Ma-resolve yung contractualization, yung maraming na-layoff. Pang-apat, to ensure food security at supply ng raw material sa bansa, dapat lamang ay maipatupad yung genuine agrarian reform sa ating bansa para lalo pa nating ma-harness yung ating agricultural lands. Panglima, good governance, pag-end sa corruption, pagpapanagot sa mga na-involved sa corruption cases nitong mga nakaraang taon. Pang-anim ay peace at pagwawakas natin sa tyranny. Support natin sa peace talks between parties in the armed conflict. Tapos dapat yung approach natin ay hindi yung kagaya ng ginagawa ng NTF-ELCAC or National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, wherein lahat ng mga nagkikriticize ay kinoconsider na rebels or worse pa, terrorists para lamang ma-end daw yung rebellion or terrorism. Pampito ay defense of our territories and our sovereignty. Pangwalo ay protection ng ating environment, tapos pag-address sa climate crisis. Pangsyam ay pag-end sa forms ng discrimination, abuse, and violence based on gender. Yun yung mga gusto nating patampukin sa buong bansa para doon natin maidiin at makilapis na yung ating mga kandidato. And pang-apat, labanan at ilantad ang anumang forma ng pandaraya. Okay? So, doon nagtatapos yung ating talakayan. No? So, yon. At first, mukha siyang simple, pero kailangan talaga nating padamihin pa yung mga kabataan na involved sa ating efforts. No? Ngayon, we have hundreds of participants. No? Magandang start ito. No? Kaya commendable talaga yung ating activity. And hopefully, from us, bawat isa sa atin, kapag nag-reach out pa tayo, sabihin natin yung bawat isa sa atin dito mag-reach lang ng 10 tao, ensure natin na makaboto. Abot na yun sa more than 2,500 na dagdag na mga kabataan sa ating pool ng woke and conscious voters. No? Kaya, let's get involved. On our part, we have a youth movement for new politics. Ito yung Kabataan Tayong ang Pag-asa na nagpo-provide din ng voters education sa communities, in partnership with school organizations. So, open talaga tayo sa lahat ng forma ng pagtutulungan. And on the part of Kabataan Party List, if you have any concerns, legislative proposals, and if you want to be part of our pool of interns and volunteers, nandyan po yung ating email tsaka sign-up form. So, yun lamang for now, and maraming salamat for having Kabataan Party List in this session. More power sa inyo at tuloy ang ating laban.
Thank you so much to our Kabataan National Spokesperson, Mr. Raul Manuel, and to our Honorable Representative Sarah Jane Elago for your very propelling and also enlightening discussion on youth participation with regards to voters, education, and also elections. It was really a good sign to see how many participants we have both in Zoom and live, FB Live now. And it's a good start. Sabi rin kanina ni Mr. Raul na talagang just imagine a single person na meron siyang networks of youth na kahit 2 man yan, 5, or even better kapag 10, diba? Mas maraming reach yan. And so it was really good to see how Filipinos and youths were gathered here to gain awareness and take part in empowering Filipino electorates. And a few takeaways lang din sa akin, Fred, um, gaya rin ng sinabi ni Representative Elago kanina, napakalaki noong participation ng youth when it comes to forming this networks and alliances na makakatulong talaga on elections, 'di ba? Na ito, yung mga steps na sinabi kanina ni National Spokesperson Manuel na dapat nating fino-forward yung agenda hindi lamang sa rights ng kabataan katulad ng education that as of the moment dapat ay nasa face-to-face na tayo. Dapat lahat ay nakatatanggap na ng libre at talagang accessible na bakuna para naman ma-ensure natin yung ating ligtas na pagbabalik eskwela. And also, nandyan din yung mga agenda and also movements para sa ating para sa benefit din ng population ng Filipino masses katulad ng ating mga kasamang magsasaka, yung ating mga manggagawa kasi bilang kabataan, that's our duty and also responsibility at magsisimula yan through our voters education din. Fred, ikaw?
Sige, I'm at a loss for words. Parang sinabi mo na halos lahat ng points ko. Pero yung one big takeaway sa sinabi ni Mr. Manuel kanina, no? Is about the elite, no? Those who are ruling this country, the elite, they like to maintain the status quo because they're already up there. And some of them, like, why do we even care? No, I just want to stay like this. And somehow, that's a mindset of a lot of people. And ayun nga, sabi ni Mr. Manuel na kailangan i-take natin into account, kailangan gawin natin sila accountable na gawin nila yung trabaho nila para pagandahin yung buhay nating mga wala sa elite, wala sa privilege, di ba? Hindi lahat ng tao may privilege. So, why are they only focusing on themselves? Kasi may nakita rin ako kanina na post, bakit ka nangingialam? Di ba? Bata ka lang. And I would like to remove that kind of mindset, no? Sabihin ko lang sa inyo na tanggal yung ganong klaseng mindset kasi yung ganong klaseng mindset, parang ang neglectful. Kaya dapat ang mindset, imbes na yung bata lang tayo, ganito yung election madaya, sabihin natin bata tayo. Tayo yung bago dito. Tayo yung mag-take charge sa future. So, let's start it now. Parang, di ba? Kailangan tayo yung gumagawa ng way. Hindi yung nakatiwang lang tayo sa gilid. That is what spokesperson Manuel is essentially saying if we condense it into a very, very short sentence. Yun lang.
Yun, di ba? Kasi meron din akong naalala kanina na sinabi niya, di ba, yung ang eleksyon ay bahagi ng laban ng mga mamamayan para sa ating mga demokratikong interes. So, as a Filipino youth, talagang kailangan natin bit-bit yung agenda and also yung interests ng hindi lamang bilang mga kabataan, kung hindi talaga bilang mamamayang Pilipino. So, it's a good start. It's a great kick-off talaga na we have this kind of webinars, no? Na talagang nagre-reach out tayo sa ating mga kababayan, lalong-lalo na papalapit na talagang election. And we need, di ba, dahil sa nangyayari ngayon sa pandemya, may mga aminin na natin hindi talaga naging maganda yung pag-respond, and that's why itong elections, itong pagiging registered voters natin, it's one way of having a good start din on the year 2022.
Yeah, that's right, no? Reminder again to everyone na bumoto next year, magpa-register. If you're at least 18 years old, no, go to your nearest voting center, do your requirements, do your paperwork, and go fulfill your duty.
Ayan, napakadali lang naman actually ng ating steps on how to vote. Actually, meron yatang na-prepare ang Power Filipino Youth kanina, di ba? Naka-flash din sa ating screens. Ilang steps lang siya to ensure how are we going to really participate, di ba? And also exercise our right to vote. Ayan, currently nakaano sa ating screens.
Ayan, no? Step 1. Ay, video pala to.
ayan, while waiting, no, for our open forum, ayan, let's also read this open forum reminders for our participants. Ayan.
Ayan, no? For our open forum, no, first reminder, if you wish to speak during the question and answer portion, kindly click the raise hand button in the reactions tab and wait for the technical team to assist you.
You may also use the chat section to react, give an opinion, and questions regarding the webinar session. For the Zoom participants, you may send them directly to the event hosts through private message. For the FB Live participants, you may send them directly through the live chat box and wait for the technical team to entertain your questions.
And yeah, third guideline, please keep your comments and statements relevant and related to the assigned topic for this webinar session. Also, keep it condensed na din para madali lang basahin ng ating technical team.
And use also appropriate words and in proper behavior at all times. Respect the speaker by listening attentively to the question and answer portion.
Yan. And most importantly, for our very last guideline, tandaan nyo ito lahat ha, learn and enjoy this open forum session.
Ayan. I think marami na tayong questions, no, for our speakers, sina Mr. Raul Manuel and also our representative, Sarah Jane Elago. Ayan. First question po to Mr. Raul. How can we take a step towards contradicting and eliminating the thoughts of Filipino people na quote-unquote, hindi importante ang boto ko kasi ako lang naman mag-isa?
Ayan. Well, actually, to be honest, dati din, nung mas bata pa ako, may ganun din akong thinking na yun, one vote lang naman. Tapos, statistically speaking, di ba, what is 1 out of 60 million, di ba? Wala siyang 0.00 something percent. Pero, dapat tingnan natin yung mga bagay as part of a whole. Doon kasi nagkakaroon ng power kahit yung mga maliliit na bagay. Na kapag part sila ng isang mas malaking chunk, tapos magkakasama pa for a common direction forward, doon nagkakaroon ng power yung boto natin. Example, di ba? Taken yung magnitude ng boto ng mga kabataan na, as mentioned, di ba kanina, nasa 20 plus million yung mga youth voters. To elect a senator, yung kailangan lang ay nasa more than 10 million. So, ibig sabihin talaga kapag nakuha natin yung common interest ng mga tao na gusto nating mag-take on ng ating common agenda and use that to challenge the participants, edi pag ganun talaga, kaya nating makapagpanalo ng mga candidates na deserving talaga na maupo sa pwesto. Kaya yun, tingnan natin yung boto natin, not in isolation, but as part of a drive to install progressive candidates.
And same insights lang din po kasi nga na-mention niyo rin po kanina na what about kapag shinare namin yung mga natutunan namin kanina dito sa discussion niyo po, kahit pa konti-konti lang siya na 2, 3, 5, di ba? Sobrang dami na niya and every vote counts po talaga. Ayan. Let us also acknowledge din po the presence of our Kabataan Party List representative, Honorable Sarah Jane Elago. Ayan po. Good afternoon po.
Hi, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. Maraming salamat po sa Tulong Pilipino at sa Tower of Philippines.
Ayan, Fred. I think meron pang next question.
Ay, wait. Saan ba makikita yung question? Good afternoon po pala, no, Honorable Elago. While we're looking for our next question po, how are you today po?
Great, no? Because our schedule is really packed, no, with urgent caucuses in preparation for next week's deliberation on charter change. There's the impeachment complaint against Justice Leone, Bayanihan 3, no, the much-awaited plenary debate on the economic stimulus bill. Wherein, we've been seeing youth and students lobbying for more eduk-ayuda, yung dagdag na aid para sa sistema ng edukasyon. Kasi ngayon po, ang meron lang ay basic ed. No? Wala po para sa kolehiyo, para sa ating higher education institutions na nangangailangan din po no, ng mga dagdag na assistance para sa gadget, sa internet and communications allowance. Lahat po yan kailangan natin para sa blended learning at bilang paghahanda na rin sa huling pagbubukas ng mga paaralan at resumption ng face-to-face classes. Naway makasama rin po namin dito ang Power of Filipino.
Thank you po, no? And that's very good to hear po, na Honorable Ilago, the Ayuda projects and everything. I hope it all pans out po, no? And now for our question po, our second question po, how do you think the 2022 Philippine national elections will be conducted considering the current adversities of the COVID-19 pandemic?
May I respond before Raul?
Okay.
All right, we're anticipating big challenges no, in terms of how campaigns will be conducted. Bago pa lang yung COVID-19 pandemic, nandyan pa rin yung electoral violence, so yung guns, goons, vote buying, mga reports ng mga electronic dagdag bawas. So paano pa kaya ngayon no, na marami tayong restrictions sa mobility, sa travel, sa paglabas. No? Kaya lagi din namin binibigyan ng diin sa bahagi ng mga kabataan na hindi natin kailangan maghintay ng 2022 elections o dun sa mga buwan kung kailan malapit na yung eleksyon no, para palakasin yung boses natin para sa epektibo, demokratiko, makatao, focus no, sa kalusugan at sa karapatan na pangkabuang pandemic response at recovery plan. Dahil diyan po nakaangkla, diyan naka-anchor lahat ng mga prospects para hindi lang para sa eleksyon, no, kundi para sa edukasyon natin, sa pagbubukas ng mga negosyo, pagbubukas ng ekonomiya, pagpayag sa tuloy-tuloy na pagdaloy ng transportasyon at marami pang iba. Napakaraming nakasalalay dun sa ating pagtatagumpay sa pag-contain ng COVID-19 pandemic. Kung magpapatuloy yung kalagayan ngayon na mahigpit pa rin yung mga restrictions sa paglabas, talaga makaka-apekto yan sa kung paano mangampanya ang mga kandidato. At alam niyo kung sino ang nasa disadvantaged na position? Yung mga kandidato na nanggaling sa mga marginalized underprivileged no na mga backgrounds dahil yung mga ways no to campaign digitally at via radio o TV hindi po yan mura no, napakamahal niyan at mahihirapan talaga no yung mga kandidato na nanggaling sa ganung mga background. Kaya idagdag po natin dun sa ating advocacy no, yung pangkabuuan na laban natin para din sa pagtitiyak na may boses yung mamamayan sa lahat ng ito. Palakasin natin yung participation ng mga kabataan. We need to sustain the energy of the young electorate to fight against electoral fraud, any form of disinformation affecting the 2022 polls. At ngayon pa lang na magparehistro na tayo. Ngunit hindi lang tayo magpaparehistro para makaboto. Kailangan din natin magparehistro ng boses natin na para tiyakin ang pantay, ang malinis na halalan ating.
Ako naman mag-add lang ako short since na talakay naman ni Kong Elago yung mga main points. Yung sa panahon lang ng pandemic, napakita na kung gugustuhin talaga natin na ma-practice ng ating democratic right na makapag-install ng ating mga officials, nakita naman sa ibang mga bansa na kahit panahon ng pandemya, posibleng gawin yung eleksyon. Gusto nating i-contradict yung sinasabi ng ilang mga officials na ayaw pa talagang umalis, ayaw pang mag-give way na sabihin pa na dapat wala eleksyon kasi panahon ng pandemic. May ganun pang mga discussions months ago, pero ngayon buti naman hindi na ganun ka matunog yung ganung mga suggestions. Kaya dapat matuloy na talaga yung 2022 elections. And of course, no, dapat balansehin din natin. Gusto natin na ma-practice siya, while of course, maintaining yung ating health at hindi lalong kumalat yung COVID-19. Kaya para magawa yan, sa part ng youth, doon papasok yung ating skills paano natin maximize yung social media to spread information and awareness habang hindi din natin binibitawan yung meaningful engagement pa rin sa ground. Kasi iba pa rin talaga yung value ng meron ka talaga nakakausap, nakukuha natin yung kwento ng ating mga kababayan, how they choose their preferred candidates, ganyan. At makakatulong tayo sa process ng lalo pang pagmumulat sa ating mga kababayan. So yun, maximize natin lahat ng platforms available.
Ayan naman po, ano? And for our next question po, how can a youth like us be a catalyst of change on the perspectives of people who are not willing to participate on the election?
First, siguro, my advice is to get organized. Kayo, nandito na kayo ngayon sa Power of Filipino Youth, no? Kaya, you must celebrate this accomplishment. This is in itself a victory, no, for the young people. Yung makita nyo ang sarili nyo na parte ng isang organization na may layunin na palakasin, no, ang ambag, ang mga pagsisikap ng mga kabataan sa iba't ibang aspeto. Number 1 yun, ang get organized. Ang second, yung tiwala sa isa't isa. Rely on the power of the collective, the power of the multitude. Sobrang dami niyong pwedeng gawin at magawa pa. Bukod sa voters registration, voters education, yung mismong voters empowerment, yung tireless persuasion, explanation, hindi lang po sa hanay ng mga estudyante at kabataan, kundi dalhin natin yan sa ating mga tahanan, no? Sa pakikipagtalastasan, sa ating magulang, ating mga kapatid, sa ating mga relatives, sa ating communities. Tiyakin po natin, no, na pinapagpatuloy natin yung public conversation tungkol dito, lalong-lalo na at nabasa ko rin sa comment section sa chat box. Malaki po ang magiging epekto ng electoral disinformation, no, sa public discourse, lalo na po sa online, yung laganap na false information, yung systematic and sometimes state-sponsored pa na disinformation na nangyayari, no, sa ating bansa ngayon. Itulak natin ang COMELEC na gumawa ng mga mas malinaw na plano kung paano titiyakin na may transparency, may accountability ang mga political consultancies, ang mga kandidato pagdating sa kanilang mga binabahagi na impormasyon sa social media at sa lahat ng espasyo ng public discourse. Hindi magpapaloko ang mga kabataan, no? Pero sana all, di ba, armed with tools for analysis, pagpa-fact check, no, sa lahat ng ating mga nababasa, ng ating mga napapanood, ng ating naririnig. Pangatlo, keep yourselves informed and updated na hindi lang dapat ito matapos sa webinar na ito. Ang Power Filipino Youth, magplano pa kayo ng mga susunod yun ng mga discussions tungkol sa iba't ibang issue ng ating bayan. Ang pang-apat, bukod sa pagpaparehistro, turn out, no, on the election day, hindi lang sa 2022, no, pero sa bahagi po ng Kabataan Party List, araw-araw may epekto ang bawat nating ginagawa. So, kaya kung meron kayong pwedeng laging magawa, no, para po i-raise pa yung awareness, makipagdebate, at matuto rin, no, mula sa ating kapwa-kabataan, ang kapwa-estudyante, sa ating mga guro, sa iba't ibang members ng mga stakeholders ng ating school, gawin natin. When we are presented, no, with an opportunity to make a difference, seize that opportunity at panghawakan po natin ang mahigpit. Maraming.
Yeah, thank you so much po. And for our next question, what would be the best advice to voters who seek change? We are in the midst of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, and we need a leader who is responsive to such crisis or situation, especially a health crisis po.
Okay. For that question, ngayong panahon ng pandemic, diba? Yun, doon natin nakita paano talaga dapat na magkaroon tayo ng isang functional government, no? Kasi And talaga dumadating sa point na may mga tao na hindi na talaga nagki-care sa ano pa yung ginagawa ng incumbent na public officials dahil nakita nila na negligent naman, ganyan. So, it's like wala na silang tiwala sa government at all, ganyan. Kaya naman, on our part, sa bahagi ng mga youth natin and students, dahil may ganito tayong lessons, kaya lalong mas mahalaga na dapat yung ating pamantayan for choosing our candidates would be issue-based. No? Yun talaga yung isa sa mga susi. Kasi yun, if we prefer lang to choose a candidate based on their origin, halimbawa galing na siya sa ganitong lugar, ganyan, or kababayan natin siya, ibig sabihin, mahirap mas mag-bridge ng mga kabataan para sa kung ano yung mga common na usapin natin. So kapag yun yung naging foundations ng ating unities, mas lalo nating matatranslate yung ating votes talaga dun sa pagkakaroon natin ng mga public officials na itatranslate yung ating mga demands into policies, into programs, and into laws na siyang ipapatupad para sa benefit ng mamamayan.
All right, just to add, no, I'd like you to know that you are not on your own. You are not alone. No? Hindi ka nag-iisa sa mga worries na yan, ang ating pag-aalala sa ating kinabukasan. So, kaya babalik pa rin tayo dun sa pagkapit talaga sa isa't isa para maghawaan, hindi ng COVID-19, pero ng pag-asa. Hope is contagious. So we must hold on to this hope. No? Let us turn our uncertainties or rage, no, kung meron man sa mga nararanasan natin ngayon, into action, no? Into awareness raising, no? Doon sa lahat ng mga pwede nating magawa, no, para hindi lang tayo-tayo, hindi lang kanya-kanya, no, pero sama-sama tayo nahaharap sa mga hamon at sama-sama tayo nababangon. Maraming salamat.
That's a very inspiring and heartwarming message po, Honorable Ilago. And for our next question po, I don't know if it's going to be our last. Depends po on our time frame. But our next question would be, does our political culture influence the way we vote or the way other people vote, especially voting in their preferred candidates?
Sige. Ako tingin ko oo. Dapat tingnan natin yung voting tsaka yung electoral process bilang isang complex na usapin. It's not just tayong voters ay boboto for some candidates tapos kung ano yung kanilang ginawa ay solely yung sisisihin lang ay yung voters. Kasi pag ganon, mauwi tayo sa discourse wherein sa halip na mag-unite tayo at magsama-sama to elect competent and pro-people candidates and hold them accountable kung nagkakamali sila, ang mangyayari kasi ay masisisi natin yung mga voters eh. Kaya ayaw natin na halimbawa yung tingin natin sa mga voters na hindi pa that aware and critical ay halimbawa yung term na bobotante, ganyan. Ako I really want to avoid din na gamitin yon kasi mas lalo siya naka-alienate tapos madedetach natin yung ating sarili sa mamamayan na nakaranas din naman ng crisis ngayon, hunger, poverty, joblessness, pero hindi lang sila that equipped pa with the tools for analysis para talaga maging mas wise sa pagpili ng mga kandidato. Kaya rather than blaming the voters, dapat din aralin din natin yung electoral process as part of the existing inequality sa ating bansa. Kasi example, di ba, yung mga hindi naman pa talaga that empowered, ganyan, hindi pa sila involved sa ganitong discussion, sila yung magiging prone doon sa, okay, kung sino yung mas mataas yung binigay, through vote buying, yun, iboboto, parang ganyan. Kaya, hindi yung blame lang ay nasa mga voters, no? Lagi talaga tingnan natin yung imbalance sa kung sino yung merong napakalaking machinery, kayang magbayad sa mga trolls, kaya mag-spread ng disinformation, para linlangin yung mga tao na yung gusto lang naman sana ay makakuha ng promises para sa concrete action para sa kanilang mga nararanasang usapin bilang part ng mamamayang Pilipino.
Alright, kaunting dagdag na lang. It's also a matter of economic empowerment. No? Kung laganap yung gutom at kahirapan dito sa ating bansa, wala talaga tayong maaasahan na pagbabago, lalong-lalo na yung prevalence ng vote buying dito sa ating bansa. Marami sa ating mga kababayan, they are left with no choice dahil dun sa napakatindi na kahirapan, gutom, kawalan ng trabaho at kabuhayan. No, kaya ngayon pa lang, mga kabataan, may pwede na kayong gawin, may pwede na tayong gawin to build that economic strength, no? Yung self-reliance ng ating economy, ang yaman-yaman ng Pilipinas, yung paglikha ng trabaho dito sa ating bansa, yung paglikha ng mga kabuhayan, pagsuporta sa mga micro, small, and medium enterprises, pagsuporta sa ating mga kababayan, no, para may kakayahan sila na tumindig sa sarili nilang mga paa, makakain ng sapat no, sa araw-araw at mabuhay ng may dignidad. Yan po yung pangarap nating lahat. No? Kaya tayo buong buo na magpa-participate hindi lang sa darating na eleksyon, kundi sa pang-araw-araw na nangangailangan ng mas pinalakas na pagkakaisa. Maraming salamat at magandang hapon po.
Ayun po, I also agree na imbis na maging mapanghati talaga, we have to unify the Filipino masses. Ayan, for our next question po, paano po ma-encourage na mag-join pa rin sa elections through voting yung mga nawalan na ng pag-asa sa government, politics, or elections? Tulad po ng quote-unquote, hindi na ako boboto kasi ganito lang din naman ang nagiging turnout.
Okay, sige. In line dun sa mga kababayan natin na nawalan na ng pag-asa sa ating electoral system, well, while gusto natin na makapag-participate sila, actually nire-reveal din nun yung mga deeply rooted na ring mga problems sa ating bansa in terms of its political landscape na related din naman sa ano ngayon yung current na kalagayan ng ating bansa. Kasi sa kahit saang lugar talaga, wherein nandyan yung socio-economic inequality, wherein yung mga sila yung may hawak ng position sa government, tapos sila din yung merong mga example, malalaking negosyo na mas bent on exploiting rather than helping people. Kapag ganon yung setup, hindi natin ma-expect talaga na yung kanilang ipapatupad ay yun yung magbe-benefit sa majority. No? Kaya yung nangyayari din, given na sila na yung may ganong position, kaya nilang mag-maintain doon at nakakagawa sila ng mga paraan to justify yung kanilang pananatili sa pwesto. So yun yung isang reality. No? Although syempre, hindi siya madaling baguhin talaga. We can't expect na sa isang election in a snap ay nabago na yon. Pero dapat lang ay handa tayong harapin na may ganun talagang reality. That way, lalo nating hahanapan ng paraan paano pa rin ma-encourage yung mga tao na still mag-participate. Isa sa mga paraan para magawa yan ay pag-explain sa ating mga kababayan na wala ng faith sa current electoral system na kailangan natin talagang exhaust lahat ng paraan na pwede nating gawin. Example, pwede naman kasi nakasabay ng paghangad natin ng mas malalim pang pagbabago sa ating bansa. Hindi pwede nating pabayaan yung parating na elections kasi venue pa rin naman siya to hold accountable yung mga current na nakaupo para yung mga hindi na deserving na magtagal sa pwesto ay mawala na sa pwesto. Habang, of course, while participating sa elections, still, even after elections, binabantayan natin yung mga nakaupo. We propose reforms sa ating current governance. So, yun yung ating pwedeng advice. Exhaust natin lang lahat ng paraan kasi hindi ganun kadali na mabago yung ganitong problems. Pero posible kapag patient lamang tayo at kinakaya natin na magpaliwanag sa ating mga kababayan.
So much po, Mr. Raul Manuel, our national spokesperson for Kabataan Party List. Ayan. Thank you so much for participating in the first half of the open forum session for today's webinar. Now, to give the token of appreciation and acknowledgement to our webinar's first guest speaker, Honorable Sarah Jane Elago, to be followed by the introduction to the second guest speaker. May we now call on again the event chairperson and the vice president for external affairs of the Power of Filipino Youth, Ms. Jewel Elefane.
Hello, good afternoon. Much gratitude and appreciation, Honorable Sergeant Elago and Mr. Raul Manuel, for your support in our organization's initiative. It was exceedingly propelling to see how a number of Filipino people, Filipino populace were gathered in pursuit of awareness and on the necessity of being a conscientious and accountable citizen of the Philippines. And by this instant, our platform of facilitating youth's advancement has been able to significantly extend its ambit on expediting the country's progress. And we dearly tender our appreciation for your unpaying public service through this humble certificate of appreciation. The Power of Filipino Youth awards this certificate of appreciation to Honorable Sergeant Elago and Mr. Raul Manuel in grateful acknowledgement of his and her distinguished and invaluable service rendered as a guest speaker on this event entitled #Sulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Bumoto, the fifth webinar and of the 5-week webinar series project conducted by the Power of Filipino Youth, thereby contributing immeasurably to the prestige and success of the initiative. Signed by the President of the organization, Ariel Yuri D. Edulian, Vice President for Internal Affairs, Lynette Ida Lynch Rebellion, and the Chairperson and Vice President for External Affairs of Power Filipino Youth, yours truly, Jewel Elefane. Thank you so much again, Honorable Sarah Jane Elago and Spokesperson Raul Daniel Manuel.
Thank you so much to our Kabataan Party List representative, Honorable Sarah Jane Elago, and to our spokesperson, Mr. Raul Manuel. Thank you so much, Ms. Jewel Elefane. Now, before we proceed to the next portion of our webinar, may we request the core team to open their camera for photo opportunity with our speaker.
And now may we request our webinar attendees na willing mag-open ng camera nila for a photo op.
Their camera for photo opportunity with our speaker.
Now may we request our webinar attendees na willing mag-open ng camera nila for a photo op. Photo opportunity with our speaker.
Okay, first slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Ay, mali na napindot ko. Ulit po. 1, 2, 3, smile. Isa pa po. I have 6 slides here, so smile lang po kayo. Hindi ko po alam kung nasa ang slide kayo. Okay, 1, 2, 3, smile. Third slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. Fourth slide. 1, 2, 3, smile. 5 slide, 1, 2, 3, smile. And last, 1, 2, 3, smile. Ayan. 1, 2, 3, smile. Fourth slide, 1, 2, 3, smile. 5 slide, 1, 2, 3, smile. And last, 1, 2, 3.
Ayan, thank you so much to our speakers and to our participants. All right, ayan, we absolutely had a great initial discussion. No, much of our attendees really get to interact and also send their questions with other participants through the Facebook Live and also Zoom conference chat box. Now, since we were fed with a bunch of important insights from our first speaker, we deserve to be given a short period to relax our minds with today's guest performers.
Tama ka dyan, partner, no? And our first performer is a member of the Bednans Musicians Guild in San Beda University, Manila, our alma mater, Kyrel. She is an AB Political Science student, just like us, you know, and is currently serving as the Power of Filipino Youth's Associate Social Service Director. Let us all welcome Miss Patricia Rivera.
Ilang awit pa ba ang aawitin o giliw ko? Ilang ulit pa ba ang uulitin o giliw ko? Tatlong oras na akong nagpapakyut sa'yo, di mo man lang napapansin ang akong t-shirt ko. Ilang isaw pa ba ang kakainin o giliw ko? Ilang tansan pa ba ang iipunin o giliw ko? Gagawin ko ang lahat, pati ang thesis mo. Huwag mo lang ipagkait ang hinahanap ko. Sagutin mo lang ako, aking sintay, walang mampayo ng ligaya. At aasahang ibigin ka sa tanghali, sa gabi at umaga. Huwag ka sanang magtanong at magduda, dahil ang puso ko'y walang pangamba. Lahat tayo'y mabubuhay ng tahimik at buong ligaya. Ilang ahit pa ba ang aahitin o giliw ko? Ilang hirit pa ba ang hiritin o giliw ko? At di naman ako manyagis tulad ng iba. Pinapangako ko sa'yo na ikagalang ka. Sagutin mo lang ako, aking sintay, walang papayo ng ligaya. At aasahang ibigin ka sa tanghali, sa gabi at umaga. Huwag ka sanang magtanong at magduda, dahil ang puso ko'y walang pangamba. Lahat tayo'y mabubuhay ng tahimik at buong. Inaasahang ibigin ka sa tanghali, sa gabi at umaga. Huwag ka sanang magtanong at magduda, dahil ang puso ko'y walang pangamba. Lahat tayo'y mabubuhay ng tahimik at buong ligaya. Ligaya, ligaya, o ligaya at buong ligaya.
Wow, that was very excellent performance from our member din ng Power Filipino Youth, Miss Patricia Rivera. Ayan, talagang ligayang-ligaya yung ating buhay. And let's start this with voters education. Talagang nagsisync siya, di ba? Kasi liligaya talagang buhay natin when it comes to choosing our right leaders in the future. I felt like na-enjoy talaga ng ating mga attendees yung performance ni Miss Patricia. And so, if you guys want to hear Miss Patricia's song covers and other vlogs, subscribe to her YouTube channel. underscore River siya. Flash on your screens right now. Ayan, Fred, meron pa ba tayong isang pasabog dyan?
Yes, mukhang meron pa naman, no? And commending Miss Patricia Rivera, ang galing niya talaga kanina. One of our pride here in San Beda, Power Philippine Youth, and in AB Political Science of San Beda, Manila. And for our second performer, yes, we do have another talented performer. And this one is from Southville Artists Anonymous. Guys, I tell you, he's amazing. He's also an artist at Sessions Live Music Streaming. If you know that, you know that, no? But basically, he is a great singer, no? Kai, I've heard, no, from the news, balita, no? Ba't puro yung mga covers niya?
Yes, nakakahiya nga, pero that's right, Fred. I listened to a few of his covers and he is really a good singer. Listeners will really feel talaga na the message of the song whenever he sings it. And so now let us call on or welcome Mr. CJ Miranda.
I'm in my bed and you're not here, and there's no one to blame but the drink in my wandering hands. Forget what I said, it's not what I meant, and I can't take it back. I can't unpack the baggage you left. What am I now? What am I now? What if I'm someone I don't want around? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. What if I'm down? What if I'm out? What if I'm someone you won't talk about? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. You said you cared, and you miss me too, and I'm well aware I write too many songs about you. The coffee's out at the Beechwood Cafe. What if I'm down? What if I'm out? What if I'm someone you won't talk about? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. And I get the feeling that you'll never need me again. What am I now? What am I now? What if you're someone I just want around? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. What if I'm down? What if I'm out? What if I'm someone you won't talk about? I'm falling again, I'm falling again, I'm falling. Tell me that you're coming through.
So sweet,
So sweet,
so tight.
so tight.
I won't bite unless you like. If you smoke, I got the haze. If you're hungry, boy, I got fillets. Ooh, baby, don't keep me waiting. There's so much love it could be making. I'm talking kissing, calling. Rose petals in the bathtub, jumping, it's bubbling.
I ain't playing no games. Every word that I say is coming straight from the heart. So if you're trying to lay in these arms, I'ma leave the door open.
I'ma leave the door open.
I'ma leave the door open, girl.
I'ma leave the door open.
That you feel the way I feel, and you want me like I want you tonight, baby.
Tell me that you're coming through.
Wow, grabe. Ang galing talaga ni Mr. Miranda, no? Dama mo yung emotions, no? Sobrang ganda ng boses. Nakahiga ako dito sa kama ko. Tapos, muntik na ako makatulog. So, sobrang galing niyang kumanta, no? So, guys, if you want to hear Mr. CJ Miranda's song covers, please give a subscribe to his YouTube channel, CJ Miranda, which is flashed on your screens right now. Subscribe.
Ayan, para naman sa ating giveaway time, Fred, ayan, sundin lang natin yung ating mechanics for our Zoom and Facebook Live participants. First, tag 2 friends and share this live post and use the following hashtags: hashtag Sulong Pilipino, hashtag Makilahok at Bumoto, hashtag PFY 5th webinar, and hashtag Youth Participation. And also like and follow us on our social media accounts for our Facebook page, Power Filipino Youth, Jobless, and for our Instagram accounts at Power Filipino Youth and Jobless Marikina.
Ayan. Ayan, and should you win this event, you will be given an opportunity to win Marikina made footwear. Surely na matibay. I know that because I've been wearing Marikina shoes my whole life. And Kai, no, I think it's time for us to introduce our next speaker.
Yes, that's right, Fred. No, wag na nating patagalin pa.
Pero first, no, nalimutan pala natin, nawala sa isip natin, no, our other promotions. As kanina, we were promoting Jobless, no. No, go participate in the game and win high-quality Marikina footwear. Next, we have Sherwin Garcia, Super MC, who I am kind of inspired right now for my get-up today. As you can see, I'm wearing it. He's our speaker last week for our public speaking webinar. And I'm asking for a favor, please go and leave a like and follow on his page and also promote him. He is a great MC and he is a big inspiration for me. And Kyrel, why don't you take the last one?
Ayan, support also our first webinar speakers project entitled 100% Attitude Project, and follow their social media accounts through the links which will be sent by the technical team on our Zoom and also FB live chat box.
And yes, and looks like our next speaker isn't still here yet, no? How about let's give the people a view of what the PFY is about, no? I'm gonna ask you guys, do you want to be a member of the Power Filipino Youth? Ikaw, Kyrel, what would you like to say to them if you're hypothetically an applicant or one of the non-members here today? Would you like to join us?
Yes, kung ako talaga, hindi pa ako member ng Power Filipino Youth, I highly recommend you guys to fill out our membership forms dahil talagang nabanggit nga ng ating mga naunang webinar guest speakers sa mga previews natin na webinar sessions na talagang magandang makilahok, di ba? At maging or mag-participate on organizations, 'di ba? Just like Power Filipino Youth dahil talagang makatutulong ito sa atin. Lalong-lalo na ngayon na we are implying the importance of voters education and collective action as well.
Ayan. And also, now if you want to join the Power of the Filipino Youth for the Zoom audience, the membership link for our Google Forms is right there in the chat box. Just open the chat box, click the link, and just apply for us and apply for yeah.
Ayan, kasi balita ko, Fred, napakaraming committees under ng Power Filipino Youth na talaga namang magki-cater doon sa strengths, 'di ba? Lalong-lalo na ng Filipino youth, kunwari, yung mga publicity materials, kung magaling kang mag-edit, 'di ba? You can be a part of the creatives team and other committees.
Yes, personally, I am part of the creatives committee, and it's fun making everything, from the PowerPoints to the publicity materials, everything. It's a fun experience to be part of an organization. So, what are you waiting for? Go join the Power of Filipino Youth. Link is in the chat box.
Yan, tamang-tama nga. Fred, tanungin muna kaya natin yung ating participants kung ano ba yung naging takeaways nila kanina sa discussion ni na Representative Sara Elago and si ating spokesperson na si Mr. Raul Manuel. Ayan, comment it down below on our Zoom chat box, and also for our FB Live participants, you may comment it down on the chat box as well. Ayan. Meron na ba?
Ayun, mukhang meron na nga. My takeaways, suffrage and the role of youth in public and civic affairs. Yes, mukhang tama din naman to, no? It's a great takeaway, no? As the youth, no, bilang mga kabataan, sabi ko kanina, tanggalin natin sa isip natin na bata tayo. Let your voice be heard. Sabi nga ni Rica May M. De La Cruz, no? Ayan, napakaganda takeaway po, no, Miss Rica. And, yan, From Alto Mariahin, Batalao, ang mahalaga, boboto kami sa next election. Is that right, Kai?
Oo naman, syempre, 'di ba? Nasabi rin kanina na sobrang halaga na registered participants na tayo sa elections, pero mas mahalaga din na we doesn't stop there. Dapat na i-imply natin yung importance of voters education, na talagang meron tayong background checks sa ating mga local and also national candidates, 'di ba?
Yes. And, looks like there's a new submission, no? From Renil Suyat. It is also up to the youth to end the stigma and the vicious circle happening within the Philippine political landscape. True change does not solely begin in the ballot box, but also to teach each and every Filipino voter out there. Ikaw, Kyrel.
Oo, tama yung sinabi niya. Kasi nga, hindi naman natatapos lahat sa elections. Dapat tuloy-tuloy pa rin yung ating civic participation. Kasi responsibility natin na kahit na may na-elect na tayong mga candidates talaga sa Senate man yan, sa ating Congress, or even our executive post, kailangan talaga ay consistent tayo sa pag-alam kung ano nga ba yung mga advocacies nila, yung agenda nila, hindi lamang para sa mga kabataan, di ba? Kasi as Power Filipino Youth, but also to the Filipino community. Ayan, sabi rin ni Hannah dito, hindi kami kabataan lang, kabataan kami. That's right, di ba, Fred?
Yes, that's right. We've been saying that earlier, no? We have our voice, and we are basically the majority of the Filipinos. So, why not take a stand? We are more than what they think we are, di ba?
Ayan, sinabi rin ng ating participants na sina Norge and Dan, di ba? Parang our vote is our voice, and ang pagrehistro sa pagboto ay pagrehistro ng boses ng mga kabataan at na buong Pilipino.
Tama. No? So, guys, always remember, no? Registering for a vote is registering your right to a better country, a right to a better life here in this country. It's time to take away the evil of society, everything bad that is happening. it could end with us. Let us do our part, be responsible, and do everything we can to have a peaceful and fair election that will be for our benefit as Filipinos for the present and the future.
Yan, tama. Sabi rin dito ni Dave, di ba? It has been decades since we are recognized as the quote-unquote people of tomorrow, yet most people nowadays still look at us as kids. When will that tomorrow be? Today is the amalgamation of the change catalysts, di ba? Ang naalala ko dito talaga yung statement ay, ewan ko kung saan ko siya narinig, pero talagang naniniwala akong napakinggan nyo na rin siya, di ba? Kung hindi ngayon, kailan pa? Di ba? Kung hindi ikaw, sino ang kikilos? So, talagang dapat ma-end na natin yung misconception and also yung prejudice na, ay kabataan, bata ka pa, wala ka pang alam, di ba? That's why we push for these platforms such as the Organization of Power Filipino Youth, di ba? Conducting webinar sessions for the betterment of the Filipino community.
That is right, Kyril, no? Hindi lang tayo bata. Bata tayo. Tayo ang future. Parang ulit na natin sinasabi ito na wala na kasi tayo masabi except that is only what we can do for now. No, we're not limiting ourselves to that. What we can do is hashtag sulong kabataan. Spread that hashtag. Spread the message. Spread it. Just spread it all over the Philippines and remind every single person in the Philippines, every single youth in the Philippines, hey, even you can inspire other nations to vote for the right candidate. If you know someone who's in Japan or Korea, if they're having an election in whatever country they live in, tell them that. If they're young and if they're not registered and if they're eligible, go tell them to register. This is an opportunity for us to live a better life for tomorrow. And here, sabi ni Alvin John Akayen from San Beda University. Wait lang, abangan ko lang to. San Beda University, Malina. Schoolmate natin. Hi, schoolmate. So, after the elections that occurred in the US, we can also make that change. And if not, only the youth, but every Filipino to unite for the love of our country, which is for the Philippines. Yes, no, as we know, no, for those who don't know, the USA had its elections last November, and we know who the president is now, President Joe Biden. He fought a very divisive battle between the Republicans and the Democrats. It's a very political struggle, and we will not really dive into the specifics of that. But the takeaway is the people have spoken. They didn't like their past president enough to elect him a second time. Now, if they can do that kind of thing, if they can make that kind of change, and look at them right now, they're actually progressing with the COVID pandemic. They're being vaccinated as we speak. I even want to go to America myself to get vaccinated since it takes so long to get a vaccine if you're young. If you're old, then you probably have gotten a vaccine by now. But I think most of us here haven't gotten a vaccine. So that's what's happening in the US right now. Just because they elected a good president, a president who is capable of doing what the previous administration cannot. Yan, tama si Tamer, no? Tamer Glenn Groyon. Sulong pa kabataan, forward, always forward. Yun lang naman.
Ayan, bukod nga sa ating goal, di ba, na magkaroon ng registered voters sa papalapit na 2022 elections. How about, Fred, na i-promote na rin natin on being registered participants naman sa ating organization, Power Filipino Youth. Ayan.
What? Come again? You were kind of lagging.
Okay, ayun lang naman ang sinabi ko, 'di ba? Why not maganda rin na as a registered voter, ay registered or participant ka rin ng isang organization just like Power Filipino Youth.
That's very totoo yun. Let's do our own way to help this country, no? In our own little way. We may be young, we may be newer to this world than the others. But that doesn't mean we are not qualified to make a change. we are all capable to make a change, whoever you are. And if you're not living a good life right now, if you're not living the best life right now, you could always turn that around and do good for the community and do good for your country. And now, mukhang nandito na pala ang ating next speaker, no, Kyrel?
Yes, let's start off the second portion of our webinar series. No, Fred?
Yeah. And also, to formally continue our webinar session, may we call on again the event chairperson and the external vice president of the Power of Filipino Youth, Ms. Joel Elefane, to introduce our next webinar speaker.
All right, good afternoon again. Our next speaker is the founding dean of the La Salle University College of Law, the chair of the Free Legal Assistance Group. He has been practicing law for 30 years and gained prominence as a human rights lawyer and litigator. The DLSU College of Law, which in 2010, is the first law school in the Philippines to highlight human rights and legal aid as part of the educational program, while the Free Legal Assistance Group, or FLAG, is the oldest organization of human rights lawyers in the Philippines, known for handling cases involving civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. Though already well known no, as in legal and human rights circles, he has gained wider public prominence when he ran on a platform of justice and judicial reform during the 2019 senatorial elections. He emerged as one of the leading opposition senatorial candidates, largely because of his connection with us, the young voters, who made sure na he consistently topped nearly all the pre-election polls and surveys in schools and universities all over the country. Wow, diba? Though he actually has no grandchildren yet, these young Filipinos adopted Dean Chell as their woke lolo during the campaign because of his progressive stance on issues. His advocacies for youth empowerment and his witty remarks despite the occasional dad joke. Even with the elections over, Dean Chell continues to engage with his children by serving as speakers for various events for numerous schools and organizations all over the country. Ayan nagsaspeak po for engagement, serving as venue for continuing his advocacy for justice, human rights, and empowering the youth. So ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to present Attorney Jose Manuel Jokno. Attorney Chell Jokno, let us all give him a warm welcome.
Hello and good afternoon to everyone. Before I start, I'd like to thank the Power of the Filipino Youth for this opportunity to engage with the more young people. Alam nyo, pagkasama ko kayo, bumabata din ako eh. Kaya kailangan ko talagang magbigay ng mga ganitong mga talk. I feel like I'm the oldest youth in the room. And well, I guess it's also because they say that youth is a state of mind. Wala naman daw sa edad naman yan eh. So I'm very happy to join you as isang Thunders na youth. You have asked me to talk about the importance of voting and why it's so important that we get involved, not just in the coming elections, but in what is happening in our country. Well, I'm sure, palagay ko narinig nyo na yan na marami na siguro nagsabi sa inyo na it's your right to vote. Tama naman yon. It's really a right that you have. Yung iba naman, sinasabi nila, it's your civic obligation to vote. At tama rin naman yon. We should get involved. Voting is a form of expression. It's a form of participation in our democracy. But, you know, I will not tell you that you should vote because it's your right. I will not tell you that you should vote because it's your civic obligation. While they are there, that's true. I will tell you to vote because it's your future at stake. These coming elections will be like no other elections that we have had in the recent past. Because these coming elections are under a pandemic. We are in a situation where very democracy is under attack. And that's why I think you have to participate in the coming elections. It's not just a question of choosing a political personality that you like. There are much deeper issues involved in 2022. There's the issue, for example, of our basic democracy. If you really value your freedom to, to speak, to express yourselves, to go on the internet and interact with others, to have the liberty to do what you want, if you really value that freedom and that democracy, then it's really very important that you get involved and that you vote in 2022. Kaya kung meron pa sa inyong hindi pa rehistrado, meron pa ba sa inyong hindi pa registered? Naku, hanggang September na lang ang deadline natin. So please make sure you are registered by this September. Ilan na lang buwan yan? That's you only have the rest of May, June, July, and August. Please make the sacrifice of going to COMELEC and registering. Alam ko medyo mahirap, naka-lockdown tayo, medyo matagal-tagal din daw ang proseso, but it will be worth your while. Because voting is your expression. Voting is the ultimate act of expressing yourself in terms of what kind of leader you want for our country. And that is so important because ay palagay ko nakita rin natin lahat sa ilalim nitong pandemya na our leadership matters very much, especially when we are all under a public health emergency. We have seen how management or lack of management of the pandemic has resulted in a failing economy. We have seen how it has resulted in loss of jobs. We have seen how it has really affected our small, micro, small, and medium entrepreneurs. Yung mga enterprises, ang dami ng mga nag-close dahil sa nangyari sa atin. And I think much of this, the impact, that kind of impact could have been, if not avoided, at least minimized had we had, better management of the pandemic. Kaya if you're asking me, do I have to vote? Is it important to vote? I'll answer with a big, big, big yes. I would like you all to make sure you're registered and make sure that you participate in the coming elections. Now, it's not, the elections is not just one day. If you want to exercise that right to vote, it starts today. It starts by studying already who will run. It starts by deciding what will be my criteria for choosing candidates. It starts with talking to your friends, your peers, your relatives, your parents, people you love, and asking them also what will be their criteria in terms of choosing candidates. Kasi tingin ko, we have a basic choice when we talk about candidates. There are, to me, two different kinds of leaders we have in our country. We have the traditional leader. Yung traditional leader, gusto niya talagang hindi lang siya maluklok sa pwesto, kundi maiwan na siya doon. Kung maaari na, habang buhay ay gagawin niya. Yung traditional leader, ang interest na gusto niyang maisulong ay yung sariling interest, hindi yung interest ng bayan. Yung traditional leader, hindi nakikinig yan, nagdidikta. And the traditional leader wants everything to be centered around him. Kailangan siya ang bida, kailangan siya ang number one. That's the kind of traditional leader that we have had for a very long time. But we have also been able to witness a different kind of leader, a servant leader. A leader who's not concerned with enriching himself or herself, who's not concerned with amassing a lot of power, but rather a leader who's concerned with empowering others, especially the marginalized, who are so many in our country. The servant leader, nakikinig yon. The servant leader consults. The servant leader does not rule by force or by violence, but rather by trust and respect. And I think if I were to ask you, ano bang klaseng leader ang kailangan natin para sa ating bayan, I think you would all give the same answer that I have, that what we really need in this very strange times is a servant leader. Kaya sana, ngayon pa lang, pag-isipan na natin kung sino ba ang gusto natin na servant leader at what other criteria can we use in terms of choosing our candidates. Huwag sana kayong madala, please, by those candidates who will run nice ads na magagaling sumayaw, magagaling kumanta. Kasi hindi naman yun ang skill na kailangan natin sa Congress at sa Senate at even sa Malacanang. We don't need people who have good social skills in terms of singing and dancing because they will not be doing that in Congress. They will not be doing that in the palace. They have to do the serious business of making laws and enforcing laws that are meant for everybody, especially the ordinary person. And you might be wondering, what kind of criteria should we have in choosing candidates? If you were to ask me my own personal take on this, tingin ko dapat tatlo yung criteria natin. Unang-una, syempre, ano yung track record nila? It's easy to say words, it's easy to promise, especially during a campaign. But you have to look beyond those. You have to really see what has this person done. For example, kung yung kandidato ay dati nang nasa Kongreso, then you can find out, and you can do this online. Has this candidate ever sponsored any law? Meron ba siyang napasa na batas na siya ang nag-sponsor? Because if you see that the candidate has never done that, anong ginagawa niya sa Congress kung wala naman pala siyang naipapasang batas? If you see that it's only maybe one law, and then you look at the law, it's medyo trivial yung batas, then you know that that person is not really into being a lawmaker. And that should make you think twice about voting for him or for her. So track record, titingnan natin dapat kung ano talaga yung nagawa, hindi lang yung sinabi o sinalita. Second is, I think we have to see the integrity of that candidate. Meron ba siyang, nasangkot ba siya sa mga anomalya? Meron bang mga kaso na naisampa sa kanya na graft and corruption? Because you don't want to have a candidate who has honesty issues. Because we are dealing with people's money here, and it's a lot of money. And that, kaya we need to have super honest public servants, especially those in high positions. Pero meron akong pangatlong criteria. And it sounds very motherhood, pero I think it's very important. Love of country. Ito bang kandidato, minamahal ba talaga niya yung ating Pilipinas? How do you tell if a candidate loves our country? Well, has this candidate stood up for us? Has this candidate stood up for our territorial sovereignty, for example, in the West Philippine Sea? Kasi klarong-klaro naman eh. By any standard, by any legal standard, Philippine standards, international standards, that is ours. Atin yan. Kaya it is but obvious that if you're a government official, you make an oath to uphold the Constitution and our laws, dapat ipaglalaban mo yung ating teritoryo. Dapat ipaglalaban natin yung ating soberanya. And I would never, ever vote for a person who doesn't love our country. So those are the three things I would look for in a candidate. Again, ulitin ko, yung track record niya, yung kanyang integrity, and yung pagmamahal niya sa bayan. May hugot ba talaga ang Pilipinas sa puso niya? I find that is so very important because I could never abide by having a leader who does not really love our country, who will not stand up and fight for our country. Kasi alam nyo, the Philippines, yung ating minamahal na Pilipinas, that our country is built on the blood, the sweat, the pain, and the lives of those who came before us. We have a long struggle for our dignity. We have been in a long struggle for our freedom and for our democracy. And I think if we want to pay homage, if we really want to honor those who have fought for us, who built this nation of ours, then we need to choose leaders who also have that same love of country. I say this a lot in my talks. You know, before we ever succeeded in gaining our independence from Spain, we fought 130 revolts in the span of several hundred years that we were a colony of Spain. Most of those revolts were led, many, and not most, but I'd say a good number of those revolts were led by young people. And they really fought for our country. Francisco Dagohoy, for example, led a revolt against Spain that lasted 85 years. He was only 20 years old when he started that revolt. The revolt that he began actually outlived him. Jose Rizal was only 23 when he wrote Noli Me Tangere, the ultimate act of speaking truth to power. Imagine a young Filipino like Rizal writing a novel criticizing Spain, at the time the biggest superpower in the world, or one of the biggest superpowers in the world. And that novel still resonates today. And that unbroken line of young people who have been fighting for our country, that continues until today. Nung panahon ng Marcos dictatorship, ang lumaban din sa diktadurya ay mga kabataan. We lost so many bright young people because of that dictatorship. And even now in the pandemic, so many of you have done so much to help the people who really need help the most because of no jobs, they can't eat, they cannot earn a living. And for those of you who have taken the initiative, saludo sa inyo, maraming salamat sa inyo because you have shown that the DNA of our heroes continues in you today. Just some final thoughts about what is why it's so important that we get involved not only in the elections but in issues that concern us. You know, my father once said that there are really only 4 issues or needs of the Filipino. Said we need food, of course, we need jobs, but we also need freedom and we also need justice. And I hope that we really focus on these genuine needs of our country. Kasi alam nyo, minsan there are people out there who deliberately try to divert our attention from the real problems of our country. Minsan gagawa sila ng kung ano-ano para lang sila yung mapag-usapan, and then nakakalimutan na natin yung problema ng pagkain, yung problema ng trabaho, yung problema ng ating kalayaan at yung problema sa ating hustisya. And we have to learn how to focus, especially online. Kasi online, ang dami talagang kumakalat ng mga deliberate, hindi lang fake news, kundi yun nga, diversionary things that tend to grab our attention. Now, to me, I hope you will never forget that we have to focus on the real problems of the country. And that those problems really could be summarized into those 4 words. As a lawyer, as a human rights defender, sa akin, yung justice ay isang super napakahalagang bagay. It's the unspoken element that is lacking in our country. Because we all want accountability. We all want no more impunity. We all want to be able to have fair dealings in our country. But how can we do that if our justice system isn't working for the people? We will never be able to address issues of corruption, issues of criminal syndicates. We will never be able to have accountability. We will never be able to get rid of impunity if we don't fix our justice system. Ito lang nakakalungkot, and I want to connect this to the coming elections. Wala naman ang mga politiko, hindi nila pinag-uusapan yung justice na yan. They don't even want to talk about it. It's not part of their national agenda. It's not part of their legislative agenda. But it's so important that we have a justice system that really works for the people. In this pandemic, we saw how justice is sobrang double standard, where ordinary people violate quarantine rules, huli agad. Yung iba, nakukulong may na-monitor kami, nakulong more than 30 days dahil wala siyang pambayad ng piyansa, walang tumutulong sa kanya, wala siyang access sa lawyer. Ano yung violation niya? Curfew. Pwede ba yun? Makulong ka ng 30 days dahil nag-violate ka ng curfew? And yet, yung iba naman, na obvious na violating quarantine rules, pero malalaking tao, kilala, identified with the administration, ay wala man lang nangyari sa kanila, wala man lang parusa, walang pananagutan. Kaya sa akin, justice is so important. And in choosing your candidates, I hope that you also find out what is their stand about fixing the justice system. Do they even talk about it? Do they want us to remain like this? Kasi, I cannot accept that my children and your generation and succeeding generations of Filipinos will be living in a country where they cannot even rely on the justice system, where they cannot even say that I'm confident that we have justice in our country. Actually, kung tutuusin, yun ang ipinaglalaban natin noon pa eh. From the Spanish colonial times up to today. One of the struggles we have always been fighting for has been justice. And it's so elusive and, it's doable. We could actually fix our justice system. It is very easy to do it, except that there's no political will. Kaya sana, isama na rin ninyo sa listahan ng criteria yung what is the platform of the candidate as far as the justice system is concerned. Ayun, I want to leave a lot of time for us to interact, so I will end my talk here. I just have one last point. Some of you have come up to me or asked me questions, some young people, and said, bakit pa po ako boboto? Hindi naman bibilangin yung boto ko. Wala naman ang boto ko. I want to disabuse you of that notion. To make 1 million votes, you have to start with 1. To make 10 million votes, you have to start with 1. To make 20 million votes, you have to start with 1. And do you know how many young people are registered voters? By 2022, ang estimate namin, kung mag-register kayong lahat, is you will reach 40 million registered voters. Because in 2019, there were 33 million registered voters between the ages of 18 to 39. Kaya pag sinabi ko sa inyo, nasa inyong kamay ang kinabukasan ng Pilipinas, kayo na ang magdedesisyon kung sino ang magiging mga national leader natin. It's true. It's factually based. You will have that. You have the numbers. Ito lang. When I spoke to some political analysts, they told me, yes, there's maraming youth na pwedeng bumoto, pero hindi naman sila bumoboto, sabi ng mga political analysts. I dare you, I challenge you to prove them wrong. I want to see you prove to the world that there is a youth vote. Because the voting is the ultimate expression of your being a part of the Filipino family. And especially now, we need your vote because every vote counts, every vote matters. And I hope to see you there and making good choices in 2022. Thank you, and I hope you all have a good day.
Thank you so much, Attorney Jokno. It has been a very enlightening and very educational discussion with you with regards to youth participation in the election. I'm so grateful that you're here because you are one of those people na hindi nagpapadala sa agos ng politika, pero you are one of the people who stands your ground despite adversity and despite everything that has happened. You still have the heart and the mind to inspire the youth, to inspire the future to do the right choice po. And For the attendees, we saw how active the attendees are. Ang dami nilang comments left and right, no? With very helpful insights while you're discussing po, Attorney Jock, no? Dito talaga natin nalaman na nakikinig sila. Di ba, Kyrel?
Yes, Fred, that's right. And I would just like to add yung narinig ko from Attorney Jokno kanina na sabi niya voting is part of our expression. Kaya naman, it's very important talaga. Kahit paulit-ulit nating sabihin na yung participation natin, bago tayo makabuo ng 10 million votes, we have to start with one. Kailangan natin siyang trabahuhin. And it's very nice to see participants na sobrang engaging ng webinar session natin ngayon. Ang daming insights with regards to how are we going to engage and also lift up this voters' education.
Yes, and talagang napukaw yung isip ko sa sinabi ni Attorney Jokno dun sa classing types of leaders and the traits they should have, no? Dapat talaga ang leader natin may passion for the Filipino people most of all, di ba? Kailangan may pagmamahal sila sa bayan. They need to have the know-how how to run the country. They need to know what is right or wrong. They need to know what they should do right, 'di ba? Dapat sila yung nagli-lead, nag-i-inspire sa mga tao, hindi sila yung bida-bida na sabi nga ni attorney kanina, 'di ba? Dapat sila yung nag-i-inspire sa mga tao na gumawa ng mabuti para sa bayan alongside them to encourage cooperation, 'di ba? And unity among the Filipino people. Now, before we proceed with the next part of our webinar session, the open forum or the Q&A portion, let us first run through again some of our reminders and guidelines.
If you wish to speak during the question and answer portion, kindly click the raise your hand button and wait for the technical team to assist you.
Yes, and you may also use the chat section to react, give an opinion, and questions regarding this webinar session. For the Zoom participants, you may send them directly to the event hosts through private message. For the Facebook Live participants, you may send them directly through the live chat box down there and wait for the technical team to entertain your questions.
Please keep your comments and statements relevant and related to the assigned topic for this webinar session.
Then, use appropriate words and be in proper behavior at all times. Please respect the speaker by listening attentively to the Q&A portion.
And lastly, learn and enjoy this open forum session. Yan, to kick off po the first question, attorney, what are the current issues in the Philippine society that is necessary to be considered by the Filipino electorate in order to vote wisely po?
I think that we all have to be concerned with the economy. We would need candidates who will have a clear plan and platform in terms of how do we address what's happening to our economy. Also, in particular, the unemployment and the loss of businesses, small and medium businesses. That's one. Second, this is something I also believe is so important, and this is the environment. I think it's about time we have candidates who really have a platform that is green, that really looks to address issues of the environment. Because this is something that's going to affect especially the youth in the coming years. And that's why dati pa lang, pero at least now we should start pushing and looking for candidates who have that in mind. Beyond that, as I mentioned earlier, I think we also have to demand for that they do something about justice in our country. One problem we have kasi is, sometimes I get the feeling we have so many laws but too little justice. Para bang sobra tayo sa batas pero kulang naman tayo sa justisya. Kaya these are among the issues I think that are important to all of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Jokno, for that wonderful answer po. For our next question po, what are the current issues in the Philippine society that is necessary to be considered by the Filipino electorate in order to vote wisely?
Well, aside from the issues that I mentioned, I think to vote wisely, you would have to have your criteria clear in your mind. Ano bang klaseng kandidato ang gusto kong mailagay sa pwesto? And as I mentioned earlier, my own criteria is track record, integrity, and love of country.
Another question po, no? May mga usap-usapan po na maaring gawin sa Pilipinas yung paraan ng pagboto gaya po sa US po nung last year. Bukod po sa dayaang maaring maganap, ano pa yung mga dahilan kung bakit hindi pa natutupad yung American system of voting dito sa Pilipinas po?
Well, iba kasi ang sistema nila ayon sa kanilang konstitusyon. It's different. Meron silang mga electoral college, bawat state. Maybe it's because also federal system sila. Atin ay direct vote. One person, one vote. And what can we do to ensure that there will be no cheating in the elections? Well, number one, we really need to have voters education. Kasi kailangan maintindihan ng lahat ng mga botante yung kahalagahan ng kanilang boto. Na dapat wag nilang ibebenta yon, wag silang tatanggap ng any kind of payment for voting. And also that they should choose their candidates not just because they're popular or they nagustuhan nila yung ad, pero for more substantial reasons. And for that to happen, kailangan talaga meron tayong voters education. It doesn't have to be formal, it can be informal as long as we do everything we can to help people understand why their vote matters, why they shouldn't take any money for it. One of the things we saw in 2019 was, yun nga, sobrang laganap, based on reports, yung vote buying. At sana hindi ulit mangyari yun. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you po, Attorney. For our next question, bilang mahalaga ang youth participation, ano pong masasabi ninyo sa performative participation ng mga kabataan? O yung mga kabataang ginagawang trend ang pagiging mulat at hindi iniintindi ng mabuti yung pinanggagalingan ng mga issue sa bansa, maging yung stand po nila?
Well, it takes a lot of time and experience, I think, to really absorb issues and what is happening. And we all have to be patient, I think, with one another. Kung meron tayong mga kaibigan o kakilala na sa tingin natin ay hindi naman parang kumbaga ay mababaw lang yung kanilang participation, I think we should be patient with them, and rather than criticize them or push them hard, find ways to get them engaged. Find ways to help them see the deeper issues involved. As if kung nakikita nyo yung mas malalim na issue, then parang mas malaki rin ang responsibilidad natin na tulungan naman yung iba para makita din nila. Thank you.
And ayan po. Thank you po, Attorney Jokno again. And for our one last question po, no, syempre di po mawawala yung question for our organization po. Attorney Jokno, do you advise the youth to join youth organizations like Power of Filipino Youth for the Betterment of the Philippines?
Parang loaded question yan. No, just kidding. I really believe that young people should participate. Now, in any way you can. I would encourage you to get involved. Now, the organizations, it really is up to you. I would leave it up to you kasi meron naman na hindi niya masyadong type sumali ng mga org. Meron din naman na they're very open to it. And it can be a very rewarding experience to be part of an organization. Kasi marami kayong makikilala, marami rin kayong matututunan, and just having a support group like an organization, works is something that we all need, especially dito sa ilalim ng pandemya. Kung minsan talagang iba yung feeling natin, di ba? Kasi nasa bahay ka lang, there are times So we will feel isolated and lonely and even depressed. And working with your peers, socializing with them will also help us in terms of our making sure we're both physically and mentally healthy. Thank you.
And thank you po so much for participating in the second half of our open forum portion po, Attorney Jokno. Now, Attorney, wag muna po kayo alis. Stay lang muna po kayo because to give the token of appreciation and acknowledgement to our guest speaker, which is you po, Attorney Jokno, may we call on again the venture person and external vice president of the Power of Filipino Youth, Ms. Jewel Elefane.
So hello. Again, much gratitude and appreciation, Attorney Jose Manuel Chel Jokno, for your support in our organization's initiative. It was really great to see how Filipino youth were gathered in pursuit of awareness in the importance of being a responsible and accountable citizen of the Philippines. All of these outstanding and pleasurable outcomes will not be possible devoid of acquiring your wholehearted support and contribution. We are truly grateful that we have chosen the right and credible person and Filipino people, particularly Filipino youth and their duties. And at this juncture, we dearly tender our appreciation for your unfailing service through this humble certificate of appreciation. The Power of Filipino Youth awards this certificate of appreciation to Attorney Jose Manuel Chel Jokno in grateful acknowledgement of his distinguished and invaluable service rendered as a guest speaker on this event entitled #Sulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Bumoto, the 5th webinar and of the 5-week webinar series project conducted by the Power of Filipino Youth, thereby contributing immeasurably to the prestige and success of the initiative. Signed by the President of the organization, Ariel Yuridi Idulian, Vice President for Internal Affairs, Ida Lynette Rebellion, and the Chairperson and Vice President for External Affairs of Power of Philippines, yours truly, Jewel B. Elefane. Thank you so much po, Attorney Jose Manuel Chel Jokno. Before we proceed po, thank you to the next portion. Thank you so much po. May we request the core team to open their camera for photo opportunity with our speaker as well as the other participants. Thank you so much.
Ayan, good afternoon po, Attorney Chel. So, meron po akong 9 slides. Mag-screenshot po ako and 1, 2, 3, smile. Second slide po, 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. 1, 2, 3, smile. 2 more. 1, 2, 3, smile. And last po, 1, 2, 3, smile. Maraming salamat po, Attorney Chel.
Thank you din. Thank you. Ingat kayo palagi, ha? Paalam.
Thank you po, Attorney. Thank you so much po.
Thank you.
Ayan, syempre, hindi pa dyan nagtatapos ang ating event dahil bukas na rin, open na ang ating membership application for the Power of Filipino Youth. Dahil talagang through integrity, service, and leadership, magpapatuloy ang ating mission to empower the entire Filipino community.
As you can see, we are currently growing in numbers, kaya naman don't hesitate to fill out our membership forms, which will be sent by our technical team in the Zoom and FB live chat box. And also follow us on our official Facebook and Instagram page, Power of Filipino Youth. And from this point, let us give this floor to Mr. John Richard Fornoles from External Committee of the Power of Filipino Youth to share his experience and growth under the organization.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Kyrell. Hi, everyone. I'm Jer Fornoles, a newly added member of the Power of Filipino Youth and a member of the External Affairs Committee. I would like to share my experience with all of you on being a member of the PFY. First, I would like to say that the members are friendly and they are really helpful. And you can meet new friends or make new friends around the Philippines. Being part of the PFY enables me to further improve my skills like relationship building, creatives, and many more. Not only it will improve my skills, it helps me to be an aware citizen. Sabi nga, sulong kabataan, tayo ang pag-asa ng bayan. Thank you.
Yan. Fred?
Hi! Nauna pala to, no? So, nga pala, for one of our promotions, nalilimutan nga pala, dapat naisip ko to kanina, no? Na, my partner, Kyrel Tolete, napakagaling niya pong host. She's been leading it this entire time. She's been killing it with the hosting. She's been killing it with the past 5 weeks. Ngayon lang ako nag-host siya for the entire webinar series. She is that good. Now, flex ko lang yung mga credentials niya, no? She is a debater and adjudicator in the San Beda Debate Society. She is a former broadcast journalist and extemporaneous speaker in Tarlac Agricultural University Laboratory School. And she is the Journalist of the Year in 2020 and Junior Journalist of the Year in 2018 at Tarlac Agricultural University. She is also a National Schools Press Conference qualifier, radio broadcasting, and script writer in Filipino. And she is also a one-time regional school press conference champion for radio broadcasting and script writing in Filipino, representing Central Luzon. That's big time. She is also a 6-time municipal schools press conference champion for radio broadcasting and script writing, and again in Filipino, representing her municipality of Camiling Tarlac. She is also a 2-time Best News Anchor and 1-time Best News Presenter in the entire province of Tarlac. Ganong kagaling ang partner ko, guys. She is also a 4-time Best Script and Infomercial Writing in the entire province of Tarlac. 3rd place in Dagli ang Pananalumpati in UP Pataasan Diwa 2019. She is also an event host for Tarlac Agriculture University Laboratory School since 2015. And if you're gonna ask her for her other credentials, she is also a co-director for research and development at San Beda and Debate Society. And she is also the associate director for finance in Power of Filipino Youth. She's one of the higher position members here in this organization. She's that good, guys. And she is also a content writer for Lemon Pop Initiative. Now, for future events, hosting, and queries, please reach out to Kyrel Dayan Tolete with the following contact details below, with our phone number 0966-3229-983 and KyrelDayanspeaks@gmail.com. So ano ba hinihintay nyo, guys? My partner is that good. Ang galing niya. So what are you waiting for? Contact her now and hire her as an event host. Hindi kayo magsisisi.
Thank you so much, Fred. Ayan, medyo nahihiya ako. But then again, hindi lang sa akin yung may opportunity, but we also have another opportunity sa ating organization, Power Filipino Youth. Ayan, we would also like to take this chance to promote another opportunity to all the Filipino youth dahil magkakaroon din tayo ng upcoming mentoring program, and that's under our organization, Power of Filipino Youth. Kaya naman, let us give this floor to the organization's executive assistant, Mr. Philip Mendoza.
Hello. Yes. A blessed afternoon to everyone. For a short promotion for our upcoming mentoring program, presenting our mentor to the leadership monitoring program of Power of Filipino Youth, Errol Yuri D. Edulian. He is an experienced student leader, youth advocate, and entrepreneur. He is the founder and the president of the Power of Filipino Youth that molds students into the greatness of skills and management leadership. He is a student taking of the Bachelor of Arts in Political Science in San Beda University, Manila. A committed chairperson for Finance of Nationalist Youth and Progressive Democrats, and a responsible first-year batch representative of the Republic of the Political Science Department in San Beda, Manila. He obtained certificate courses such as leadership and management, life coaching, project management, public relations, administrative skills. He was also the former senior high school student council president and graduated with a leadership award. So there will be an upcoming mentoring program which is only limited for 20 people and first come first serve and will provide qualifying process, but it is only inclusive program for all the senior high school students and for all the college students. If you are an aspiring student council or a student leader within your school, we highly encourage you to join. We also guarantee that you will enhance your management and leadership, advancement of skills, and even speech. We also provide leadership mentoring, effectiveness of being a leader, ethical leadership, project making, at sa pagkakaroon po natin ng project making, pwede pagka ito po ay naging maganda, pwede po natin siya i-proceed na i-apply po sa ating organization. At ang mentoring program po natin ay gaganapin po ito starting from June 5 hanggang July 3, 2021. Yun lang po. Thank you, and this is yours, Mr. and Mrs. Host. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much to our Executive Assistant, Mr. Philip Mendoza. Ayan, few reminders lang, no, Fred, for our participants, both in Zoom and FB Live, para sa ating post-evaluation forms.
Oo nga pala, no? So guys, pakisagutan po yung ating, wait, so slide na to. Oh, nga pala, yung winner natin pala sa ating promotion with Jobless Marikina in partnership with Power Filipino Youth. May nanalo na. Uwian na, may nanalo na, guys. No? Congratulations to Miss Rica May M. De La Cruz that you now have a stake to claim well-made Marikina footwear. Now, please contact Power Filipino Youth, the Power Filipino Youth page in 3 days to claim your reward.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you so much for participating on our giveaway game, diba? Ayan. A few reminders lang before we proceed to the closing remarks. By the end of the session, everyone is required to answer the post-webinar evaluation forms provided by the event organizers. This will be the primary basis for the verification of the participants' attendance and e-certificates. For both the Zoom and FB Live participants, the technical team will be sending the forms through the chat box, and the post-evaluation forms will be closed 6 hours after the webinar session.
And now that you've heard the guidelines, no, to finally end this webinar session, maybe again call on the Associate Vice President for Externals, Miss Mariel Angeli Tirondilla, for her closing remarks.
Yes. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests and speakers, it is with great pride that I conclude this program with so much joy and hope for the future of our nation. Without a doubt, this youth civic participation holds a great purpose in the process of our country's development. Today's webinar has presented various points that will create the idea of a responsible voter. We have discussed that this pandemic has created so much impact in various sectors of our government, which affects the image of reigning and potential candidates. Given that, we should know that the elections do not have to occur for us to properly criticize and analyze the system and policymakers behind these uprising issues. As mentioned by Attorney Jokno, let us vote because this is our future, not with just the mere basis of having this as our right. This is when and how we practice our democracy, and therefore will determine the quality and relevance of our law. Voting is the ultimate act of expressing yourself of what leader you want to run and represent our country. This leadership matters especially in our failing economy due to the pandemic. We should keep in mind that being a politician or a public servant does not equate to a mere profession, but a huge responsibility. A responsibility that encompasses the lives and the future of the Philippines and its citizens. Choose politicians who are not only good at projecting themselves, but those who can guarantee quality policies and platforms for the betterment of everyone. Furthermore, let us take into account analyzing social issues and how it should be properly resolved. A candidate's take on these issues, especially those that are deemed controversial, should affect how we criticize them and take note of how these leaders implement, agree, or disagree on policies with the consideration of the entirety of the country. Lastly, choose a leader with the heart to serve and love for our country. This love and passion will drive them further into service for the Filipino people. Before we end this webinar, allow me to thank Attorney Jose Chaldiocno, Honorable Sarah Alago, and spokesperson Raul Manuel for sharing with us the purpose and importance of the youth's participation in the elections. These wonderful guests have truly exemplified virtues of truth and justice as people who have hope for the future, hope for the youth, and hope for our beloved country. With this, let us keep in mind our duties and let us utilize our power as a Filipino youth in the upcoming 2022 elections. Remember, each vote counts. We hold the future of our country and ultimately the future of our lives. Let me end this by stating the famous line by Dr. Jose Rizal, na sa kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you. Mabuhay ang Pilipinas and have a great evening.
Thank you so much, Miss Marielle Rondelia. And since this is also the final portion of the Power Filipino Youth's 5-week webinar series, let us all render our ears to the organization's President, Mr. Ariel Yuri Adoyan, to give a short general closing message to the program.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kairel, and good afternoon to all our participants. We would like to thank the following. Attorney Chel Jokno and Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago, maraming salamat po. Today marks the end of the 5-week webinar series of Power of Filipino Youth. This project may end, but the organization will never end its progressiveness and love to help the Filipino people and, of course, the Filipino youth. So, the organization, Power Filipino Youth, would like to thank the following. Of course, Ms. Myra G. Gahid, our first episode in our first webinar series entitled Taking Care of One's Mental Health and Overall Wellness Amidst the Pandemic. Alam nyo, Ms. Myra teaches us that our mental health and physical health are both equally important. Hindi lang dapat tayo nag-aalala sa physical health natin, but sa mental health din natin. Kung nakakaramdam tayo ng depression, then seek for psychologists, seek for psychiatrists. Lagi po nating tandaan, hindi baliw ang nagpapacheck sa psychologist, sa psychiatrist. And our mental health is important, kaya wag natin ito ipagsawalang bahala kung ano mang nararamdaman natin. Dapat lagi tayong humingi ng tulong, and we should always talk to our friends, to our family, na kung ano nararamdaman natin dahil sila ang unang tutulong sa atin. So Ms. Myra, maraming salamat po, and let us not forget to support the 100% Attitude Project. Second is Mr. Kobe Felicia and Mr. Rohan Jason Franco, student leaders from San Beda University, Manila, and Polytechnic University of the Philippines sa Santa Mesa. So both of them teaches us that despite the pandemic, dapat hindi maging reason ang pandemic para hindi tayo mag-lead with love, mag-lead with vision. Dapat nga mas maging magaling tayong leader dahil sa pandemic, because everything na nag-challenge sa atin, dapat doon tayo mas lumalakas, mas kumukuha ng inspirasyon. Kaya maraming salamat po sa aming speaker na si Mr. Kobe Felicia and Mr. Rohan Jason Franco, na tinuruan niyo po talaga kaming maging transformational leadership, na maging transformational leader in amid the pandemic. And of course, to our two speakers, Mr. Mario Guanlao and Mr. Armani Mixnarca. Nako, itong dalawa talaga pinaalala sa atin na kung anong dahilan ng pagiging Pilipino natin. Number one, we know naman kung ano ang sitwasyon ng ating bansa when it comes to employment rate, na ang hirap makahanap ng trabaho, maraming nawawalan ng trabaho. Pero alam niyo kung anong maganda, Pilipino tayo. Dahil ang Pilipino hindi marunong sumuko. And despite these challenges, talagang dapat mag-stick tayo kung saan tayo nanggaling. Di ba nanggaling tayo sa maraming challenges, yung bansa natin, yung experience ng mga ancestors natin, and dapat dalhin pa rin natin siya hanggang ngayon na hindi tayo sumuko. Kayang-kaya natin malampasan ang pandemic na ito, dapat magkaisa lang tayo at huwag tayong sumuko sa laban ng buhay at sa laban ng mga pangyayari sa sitwasyon ng ating bayan. And of course, ito, dahil ako po ay isang public speaker, maraming salamat Mr. Sherwin Garcia, aka Mr. MC. Talagang tinuruan tayo ni Mr. MC na tumingin ka muna sa taas, tignan mo si Lord, magpasalamat ka sa kung anong meron ka ngayon, and chin up and look at your audience with confidence. Dahil because of this, talagang mahahatid mo yung message mo sa mga audience mo kahit sa online class pa yan, nagre-recitation ka, or nag-host ka ng online event. Dapat always chin up ka and be confident, and you should always be an effective speaker kahit sa new normal, sa old normal, or whatsoever. Always chin up and speak up. And to our last webinar, which is nangyayari ngayon. Maraming salamat po, Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago and Attorney Chel Jokno, na tinuruan nyo kami na dapat tayong sumulong at makilahok sa pagboto. Sabi nga, sa isang kasabihan, hindi mabubuo ang 1 milyon kung kulang ng piso. So parang ganun din po sa pagboto. Importante ang boto mo. At wag mo sasabihin na, isa lang naman ako. Tandaan mo, pag sinabi mo yan, parang tinanggalan mo na ng karapatan yung sarili mo na mamili kung sinong mamumuno sa ating bansa, na dadalhin tayo sa prosperity, sa kasaganahan. And dapat makilahok tayo sa upcoming election and sa mga bagay-bagay na kaya nating tulungan. Ayan. Thank you, Honorable Sarah Jane Ilago again, and Attorney Chel Jokno. Maraming salamat po. And behind every success webinar, 5-week successful webinar, nakakuha po kami, or we have thousands of participants. Maraming salamat po. And behind every success, there is a team. Hindi po mawawala yan. A team that will lift you up, a team that will never leave you, a team that will support you, and of course, a team that will chin you up, will bring you up, and will support you all throughout your journey in life. And behind every struggle, we face it as one. Totoo lang po na marami talagang struggle ang pag-organize ng webinar. Honestly, we don't have budgets in this webinar, no? Talagang pagod at efforts lang namin ang nilalaan namin dito. And para po alam ng ating audience na all of us are students, so pagpasensyahan nyo na po kung medyo natatagalan ng pag-send sa e-certificates ninyo dahil meron din po online class na ina-attendan. And the struggle continues talaga when you are in public space. Hindi mo talaga maiiwasan yung mga rude na kung ano-ano sinasabi. But we face it as one. Lagi po yan na kung ano mang problema ng organization, lagi po kami nag-uusap, and we face it with smile. Dahil naniniwala kami na kahit anumang struggle natin as organization, kayang-kaya natin yan. And katulad nga ng sinabi kanina, we are not just youth. And we believe in the organization, the Power of Philippine Youth believes that we should be part of the solution. And katulad nga ng sinabi ko, we are not just youth. That's why we must contribute. So our membership application is open at magko-close po siya sa Monday. So, to tell you a little bit of story, nagsimula po kami with 10 people. Talagang 10 lang. And then, nag-raise ng ideas, and ito yung mga plano. Now, we are more than 60. More than 60 na po ang Power of Philippine Youth, ang member ng Power of Philippine Youth. And if you want to be a member of Power of Philippine Youth, then mag-register lang po kayo dahil ikaw, kailangan ka namin dito. Kasi kailangan namin talaga yung mga kabataan na may same vision sa amin na maging part ng solution sa mga problema. Kung makikita natin kahit saan may problema, And we believe that we should be part of the solution. So don't hesitate to fill up our application form dahil kailangan po namin kayo. Kailangan natin ng tulong ng bawat isa para sa laban na ito. And katulad nga ng title ng webinar natin ngayon, Sulong Pilipino, Makilahok at Bumoto. At tayo ay susulong at makikilahok sa paggawa ng solusyon para sa ating mga problema sa ating bayan. Ayun lang po at maraming salamat po. Kyrel and Fred, the floor is yours now.
So much, Mr. Ariel Yuri Adelian. Ayan, Fred, meron tayong few reminders to our participants.
Nga, no, may few reminders nga pala kami. Sa evaluation form po, guys, no, the evaluation form is already posted at the official Facebook group sa ating webinar. Please go to the Facebook group lang po and mahahanap niyo na po ang ating evaluation form. Na-post na po siya, guys, ha? I repeat, na-post na po siya. I-access niyo na lang po siya sa Facebook group po natin sa webinar group sa Facebook. And with that, Kai,
and also allow our event organizers and our technical team at least 5 to 7 days, working days, to be able to fix and also send your e-certificates. No need to worry kapag fill out na tayo ng post-evaluation forms dahil talagang ginagawa na siya ng ating mga members. Ayan. Again, on behalf of the Power Filipino Youth, the organizing and technical team of this youth participation-themed webinar, we would like to thank you all for staying with us as we continuously raise awareness regarding the necessity of being a conscientious and accountable citizen of the Philippines.
I hope na may natutunan kayo lahat, and I hope you have learned and gained something for the past few weeks. Sana may naitatak sa inyong mga puso't isipan na maaari nyong magamit para mapaunlad ang ating bansa sa kahit anong paraan na gusto nyo. And now, thank you again so much to all the participants and to our team for the success of this webinar program. And we hope to see you in our future webinar sessions and future events. With that, this has been Frederick Emanuelse
and Kyril Tolete, and we are your hosts for today's webinar session, saying that we must continue empowering others as we continue to empower ourselves. Again, thank you so much to our participants and stay safe.
And good day, everyone.
Guys, photo off muna tayo before we leave. Ayan, so open your camera. Grabe, mga mukhang artista pala yung mga audience natin ngayon.